And here we go. Oh, boy. Thursday, February 3rd, 2022. Ermanni and Edwards, the bottom line. Woodward Sports Network. Ryan Ermanni, Braylon Edwards. Good afternoon to you. A very different good afternoon than I thought we'd have today.
What is this? What is this outside? I thought we were done with this snow stuff, man.
Oh, man, it's coming down out there now.
I thought we were done with this, man.
Blowing around a little bit.
Thanks for asking me how I'm doing. Great night last night. I went home, made a steak. I actually picked up some.
Now, how do you like your steak?
Depends on where I'm going. Like, if I'm doing it myself, I like just no pink, like just a splash of pink.
Okay.
Splash of pink. If I go out, I like no pink at all because I trust myself more than I trust those chefs. But the best thing to do sometimes is just make your own steak, but pick up some sides somewhere. Man, I picked up some portobello mushrooms as well as some mac and cheese loaded from Red Coat. It was amazing.
That's the way to do it.
That's the way to do it, man. I came home. I turned on the USA-Honduras game yesterday. Shout out to Fish for telling us to watch that great match, and I have newfound respect for soccer players. They scored more points than there was degrees in the game yesterday, and they didn't have on any football pads. They didn't have on any heating things. They were out there running around with shorts on, and they scored 3 goals. It was USA 3, Honduras 0 as it relates to the World Cup coming up. So it was a good night, and I fell asleep.
And that's fantastic
Great
stuff.
night.
Tom Mazawey, good afternoon to you.
Hey, Ryan. Hey, Braylon. Hey, everybody.
What's up, Maz?
Good times. Hate the snow. And you know what? Birmingham, as ritzy as Birmingham is, they have no clue how to move snow around.
Where to put it?
They don't know what to do.
Yeah.
It's like in the middle of the streets, like in huge piles.
I saw that today.
I mean, if you're going to charge people like $20,000 for taxes, how about moving the snow? Grosse Pointe, you want to come make fun of Grosse Pointe? Day in a day and a lick of snow on their streets. Come and check it out, Birmingham. Learn something.
This is true.
Speak truth to power, Tom Mazawey.
Hell, St. Clair Shores is better than you.
Guys, we got a great show today, and I'm not sure anybody gives a lick about what our thoughts are on snow removal or on USA Honduras. We'll get right to it, and that is Jim Harbaugh.
I'm hurt.
That's what I did last night.
Right.
That's all I did is watch Twitter.
Look, it was remarkable, and Tom, you're the one that texted me and texted the group about it. And it was like a holy bleep kind of text message. I could not believe it. Actually,
I checked to make sure I was on the right Adam Schefter first.
Yeah, not Adam Schefter.
Not Adam Schefter.
Yeah. Like actually Adam Schefter.
They can get you in trouble.
So he broke the news last night. Now I'm going to be saying Schefter. Schefter said that Jim Harbaugh called Michigan to inform the school that despite interviewing with the Vikings, he will be returning to the school for the 2022 season. Michigan was, in other words, elated to get Harbaugh's decision. And he also told Ward Manuel, according to Adam Schefter, that this would not be reoccurring every single year. He would stay at Michigan as long as Michigan wants him. That was per Adam Schefter. Dan Graziano, just before we get into this, he tweeted out that the Minnesota Vikings have settled on the Rams offensive coordinator, Kevin O'Connell, who's like 36 years old, I believe.
Doesn't call plays.
Young man's game. Of course, Sean McVay calls the plays.
If you're Sean McVay's friend, you got a job in the NFL.
Would be the 4th former Sean McVay Rams assistant to come in. NFL head coach Matt LaFleur, Zach Taylor, by the way, who he's coaching in the Super Bowl against, and Brandon Staley. McVay in his 5th season as Rams coach. So he's got a little bit of a coaching tree he's building up over there. Tom Pelissero. I think this is interesting as well because in Schefter's tweet there, Braylon, nowhere did it say that Harbaugh is returning to Michigan after declining an offer from the Minnesota Vikings. That's because an offer never came. The Vikings met with Michigan coach Jim Harbaugh for 9 hours. This is yesterday, but the team did not make an offer. So Harbaugh returns to Ann Arbor. Kevin O'Connell, the next name in Minnesota. So Braylon, I will come to you. You asked the very important question to John U. Bacon yesterday and to Angelique Chingelis yesterday, which in all likelihood, to me, I cannot believe he gets on that plane and doesn't believe he's got an offer locked in hand. However, you are the one that said twice, not once, but twice yesterday, that what happens if he doesn't get this offer?
First and foremost, let me go back to Kevin O'Connell. I mentioned Kevin O'Connell last Friday, talking about because I had played with him in New York with the New York Jets, and I talked about his prowess as understanding offenses and him wanting to be an offensive coordinator, and him wanting to be a head coach. And then we talked about him again on Monday, and now we're talking about him taking the job in Minnesota. So shout out to Kevin O'Connell, former teammate, great guy, and I'm sure he'll do great things. I knew Jim. I don't even want to say I told you so because it's so funny to me. This is embarrassing. This is embarrassing for Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh is in a very unique position where, a lot of people want you to be fired the year before. Last year, a lot of people wanted him gone. Say, you know what, the Jimmy Harbaugh experiment hasn't worked, especially after the COVID year. You guys want to throw the COVID year out. I don't want to because there are a lot of teams that didn't, and some of them were in the playoffs last year. So I don't want to throw that out because it happened. It's a real deal. It's a real thing. Fast forward. Gets his salary stricken from $8 million to $4.3 million. Right in that moment, if you were unhappy with that, don't take the deal. I've said that. Don't take the deal. He took the deal though, right? Okay, took the deal. He knew in that moment that he didn't like that. Like he didn't like being made to take a deal. Like he didn't like being put in that position, but he took the deal. And then he coached this year. He knew in the back of his mind that he was going to do this the whole time. He knew that he was going to get to a point where when the season was over, no matter what happened, especially if they did well, which they did, he was going to leave and he was going to stick it to Michigan for making him feel that way. Well, guess what? Nobody wanted you. Nobody wanted you. And then you go out there because Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, who was on the staff, he wasn't the GM, but he was on the staff with you in San Fran. You thought that this guy is going to bring you in just to give you the job. No matter what you think of arrogance, you still have to prepare. No matter what you think in terms of somebody giving you the job or putting you in a good position or somebody putting a good word for you, you still got to prepare. You still got to come with notes. You still got to come with what you can do to move that franchise forward. Well, what you can do to help that franchise out, Maz. I believe I can do this for the Minnesota Vikings organization. Because, he has to interview because everybody's young right now. You just said KO is 34 or 36. Jim's 59 this year. You got to talk about how can you relate to the players? How can you relate to the fast pace or this new pace? He didn't come like that. He came waiting to get offered the job. And I guarantee you in those interviews, the coaches on the staff, the GM on the staff, the owners in that meeting, they're like, what the hell is this interview about? And now you got to come back to Ann Arbor where, oh, by the way, you didn't tell any of your players. You didn't tell any of your players that this was a potential during the year. At the end of the year, when everybody's doing the celebrations at the Big Ten Championship, when they're going down to the Orange Bowl getting ready to play Georgia, when it's all over, you never told any of your players that this was a potential. You kept this to yourself because you're selfish, because you're a selfish individual. And guess what? You come back to Michigan, and you talk, and you call Ward Manuel on the phone, and you say, hey, if that job is still open, I would like to be there if you will have me. You know what that sounds like? Remember when you were young? You were in my age range, Ryan. Remember when your parents take you to Toys R Us and tell you not to touch, you know what? They say, don't touch nothing. And you touch stuff anyway. And you get that whooping in the middle of Toys R Us. And then you go home and they send you to your room. And then you crawl out from down the steps after about an hour or two. And you're like, hey, Mom, I'm sorry. Is it okay if I come out of my room? And your mom looks at you. She feels bad. And she's like, I love you, son. Yeah, just don't do that again. Same thing happened yesterday. He crawled out of his room. Hey, Ward, is that job still ready for me? I will do anything if you have me again. Jim is embarrassed, and he should be because he did this to himself.
I think you and I talked in the back, Braylon.
Yeah.
If I were him, I probably would just have I'm taking the year off.
Yep.
I wouldn't have gone back had I done what he's done. I would not have gone back and taken a deal. Regardless, he's not getting a Mel Tucker deal now, for sure. So he's going to be under Mel Tucker. A state college is going to be paid more. A guy that never was in the Super Bowl. A guy that never coached as a head coach until not too long ago. Colorado gave him a chance, and he comes to Michigan State. He's making $10 million a year, $9.5 million a year. Harbaugh's not going to make that money. I would have taken time off. Hell, I might have went and coached with my brother in Baltimore. I would have done something else. It's not a good look. You know what? It's not going to be a good look because the rest of the Big Ten, they're going to be telling their recruits, you don't want to go to Michigan. You don't know what this guy's going to be doing.
You
really want to go play for him?
If I'm Michigan State, if I'm Ohio State, I'm smiling ear to ear this morning.
Of course.
I'm laughing my ass off at what Jim Harbaugh is getting ammo-wise as it relates to the recruiting circle that would be 2023. You talk about something funny. You said you would coach for free. Shoot, if I was Ward, I would say prove it.
I have a slightly different perspective than both of you guys.
Hey, that's why
great.
It's an opinion.
And here's my opinion on it. I'm glad he didn't get the job, and I'm glad he's back at Michigan. Because I believe that the University of Michigan football program is better with Jim Harbaugh than without him, especially as we navigate this new NIL and all this. I'm not sure Michigan is the job that it once was. I'm not sure the kind of coach that the University of Michigan can go get. Because all the good, it's just like Les Miles. What did Brady Quinn say? Or whoever the person said it, you either join him or you go to the NFL.
Yeah.
Maybe that was Colin Cowherd.
It was.
It was Colin.
You can't win. I don't want to say can't. It's very difficult to win big in college football unless you are one of those Southeastern Conference schools.
He was talking about Brian Kelly.
And
you can't go to Notre Dame. No, he just knew he wasn't going to win.
Michigan State. Your cap is a Big Ten championship and maybe beating Ohio State every other year.
I understand that, but what does that have to do with a 59-year-old man that's pouting and tried to hold your hold your team hostage?
Right.
And now all of a sudden he has to come back.
So to me, winning cures everything.
Right.
Referee, kill the music for a second because I want to get through this. Winning cures everything. If Jim Harbaugh goes out there next year and has a repeat season, you run it back with a Big Ten championship, how many people are going to care that he flirted with the NFL or the Minnesota Vikings or the Las Vegas Raiders or the Chicago Bears or insert name here? I mean, you look back at Tom Izzo. He did this multiple times.
Is this flirting, though? He got turned down.
Look,
that's not flirting.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Braylon.
Flirting is pinching a butt.
Braylon,
he didn't pinch a butt.
The big thing here is this. If Jim Harbaugh had a dream and a want that he needed to satisfy, if you want to go win, you want to go do something with, forget about coaching.
Right.
If you want to go do something in your life and you feel that now is the time to go explore that.
Right.
And then you do the exploring and you realize, you know what? I can't do that. I'm not going to be able to do that. I won't have the opportunity to do that. So maybe that drive, that dream of winning a Super Bowl has escaped and you have a renewed sense of energy or life for college football, for the University of Michigan, for the job that you have. I'm not saying that you're wrong at all because I think there's a large portion, probably more people that agree with you on this than with me on this, and I accept that. But I just think that winning cures everything. And if the NFL, anybody in the NFL, offered him an opportunity, there is I said this the other day, there's a 100% chance of certainty he would have taken that job over the University of Michigan. He did not choose the University of Michigan over the Vikings or over the NFL. That decision was made for him.
He chose it because he didn't have anywhere else to go.
Exactly. It was already made for him because the NFL has chosen not to hire him. But to me, as a Michigan fan, I think he is – go back to that Monday after Michigan beat Ohio State. To me, how many people in this room felt like the tide was turning a little bit? Felt that Michigan was on the right track, that Michigan, this thing was going to start to snowball in the positive direction, maybe even overtake Ohio State. At least that's how we felt after that Monday. What has changed in that time? Michigan's got a top 10 recruiting class. They've got the returning Big Ten champs. They're playing with confidence, and their coach is back.
They've lost 4 coaches.
I understand. Alabama loses coaches every year.
This ain't Alabama.
I know, but so does Ohio State, and that's what
this ain't Ohio State.
Braylon, at good, if you are a good NFL team, if you're a good college team, you're going to lose coaches every year. You're going to lose players every year. That's part of success at any level. If you're insert job here. I mean, look at what's the guy for L.A., the Rams. He just lost his 5th head coach that he'll have. I mean, the turnover will happen if you are a good college program, if you're a good NFL team. That happens every year. You got to be able to withstand that. Can he withstand that? I don't know. We'll see.
The difference is it's not like he stayed and those guys left. He tried to leave too. And he didn't tell anybody that he was trying to leave.
Well, he told recruits, apparently from the...
But he didn't tell any of the players that are on his team now. He apparently told recruits. He didn't tell any of the players that are on his team now.
I don't know that. You may know that. I don't know that.
The big thing about it is I'm not even saying that people shouldn't be happy that he's a coach. Because everything you said in terms of it is hard to get a coach. He does win here. He has won here. I get all that. I'm just saying be on alert for who he really is all I'm saying. He does give them the best opportunity to win. I never said he didn't. And I never said anything about him coming back in terms of him coaching this year and what they will be able to do next year. I agree with all that. But what I was more so making is he always talks about Michigan man and Michigan is. He should have been a Michigan man until a war up front. But when the year started, I'm thinking about going to the NFL next year. Told his players, thinking about going to the NFL. This is what I'm thinking about. It's easy to tell players that nowadays because everybody's leaving. It was easy to do that. He didn't do that. He tried to get out. Now he has to come back with his tail between his legs and now try to get some of that back. He will, and people will forget all about this. Michigan fans love Jim Harbaugh. It's the occult. They will be happy he's come back.
I was again. I think Michigan fans love the 2021 version of Jim Harbaugh. I think after 2020, a lot of Michigan fans were getting ready to get him out of here.
I doubt it. I disagree because I got into a lot of arguments on Twitter. I don't mind taking all that smoke on Twitter with Michigan fans. It is what it is. They still wanted Jim Harbaugh. Michigan fans fear mediocrity. That's more reason why they fell in love with Jim Harbaugh. They fear mediocrity, and mediocrity is what they believed Michigan was before Jim Harbaugh got here, which they were.
We're going to take a 30-second break. When we come back, Jamie Morris, former Michigan Wolverine, great host of the MZONE, will join him next. Ermanni and Edwards.
Woodward Sports Network, the bottom line.
Life is full of hard choices. We're here to make one of life's biggest decisions as simple as possible. My name is Christina Gennari, and for over 20 years, I've helped hundreds of families buy and sell homes. We cover all of Metro Detroit and more, from large luxury homes to starter homes. We will work hard to make sure that you get the home of your dreams. So if you're in the market today or even thinking about buying or selling in the future, make the obvious choice. Christina Gennari, the obvious choice in real estate. Visit us at soldchristina.com today.
Comerica Park, sunshine, the crack of the bat. More sunshine, warmth. We're almost there, Detroit. Summer 2022 will be the summer of Woodward sports. We just gotta make it through this damn cold first.
Hey, gang, want to tell you about Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. This place is wicked awesome. Precision haircuts, several locations throughout the Metro Detroit area and around the country. So look for Lady Jane's nearest you. All you got to do, walk in, sign in, sit down. Before you know it, you are handsome and clean. Ooh-wee. Open 10 a.m. to 8 p.m., 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's. It's wicked awesome. Wicked awesome. Without further ado, let's bring him in. One of the great Michigan Wolverines of all time, Jamie Morris, host of the MZONE, and you can follow him on Twitter at jmorris23. Mr. Morris, good afternoon to you, sir. How you
Jamie.
Doing?
What's going on, guys? How y'all doing?
Good to see you, man.
Doing fantastic.
J-Mo23. What's going on, buddy?
You know it. You know it, baby.
All right.
Now.
Jamie, give it to us. What do you make of this whole situation and your reaction when you got the news last night?
Wow. There's a lot of emotion that goes here. You know what I'm saying? Because Jim Harbaugh was he was a teammate of mine. He's my quarterback, as a lot of people know. Exactly. I wanted him to do whatever he wanted to do. But remember, I think Braylon says it, and I'll say this. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say it the right way. Look, this is Michigan. This is not a stop and shop, and you get what you need, and then you leave. This is a destination. It's not if you're going to be here and be the coach of Michigan, be the coach of Michigan. And I didn't like what happened, but I wished him the best, and if he wants to be the coach. But if you're going to leave, you better have that damn job, because when you come back, my arms are crossed. I'm not opening my arms and saying, welcome back, brother, I love you and everything, despite what you did last year. Congratulations. You did what you were supposed to do. You got paid to do that 6 years ago. I mean, you should have been doing that. Maybe you should have went and got you some young coaches before.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I got a lot of angst. I got to work them out before I go on the air myself. So you can hear it in my voice. Look, we'll take him back as a coach. He did good last year. I like the staff that he keeps intact, but he's got to deal with the staff, and he's got to make sure Ward makes sure the staff gets paid, because this staff did a job. Jim Harbaugh was here for 6 years before, and we didn't get that far. This staff came here and they did their job, and they did their job well. So I like what the staff is doing. Jim Harbaugh needs to pay this staff. Whatever he gets, that's good. Whatever, let him get paid a little bit more money. A little bit more money. You don't need to break the bank, because you don't get Tucker money, because Tucker got his money off of you. That's what I feel. I'm sorry. I'm going off on my little soliloquy. You got any more questions? I'm sorry.
Please don't apologize.
Nah, Jamie, don't apologize, man. You deserve to have the angst. I'm glad you can work that out before your show starts. I damn sure had to work all this angst out before I got on the air, so it would seem.
You're still working it out.
I'm still working it out. But it's just one of those. It's just one of those things. As former alums, I look at the University of Michigan as the institution. I'm not from a fan point of view, but from actually being there, and I'm like, it just seems like the institution was used for Jim Harbaugh's kind of to do what he wanted to do, figure things out, and kind of come as he go. It was very Jim Harbaugh-ish. It was very selfish in that manner. Like, if you wanted to leave next year, if you wanted to explore those options, perfectly fine. Have a conversation with Ward and say, hey, look, I don't like the fact that you lowered my salary. You lowered it down to 4.3. I felt like I've turned the program around. If this is what he thought, I felt like this, but at the end of this season, I'm thinking about exploring the NFL, exploring some options. Just have that, so they could have had somebody already ready in the chamber. Yeah. So they could have had a bullet in the chamber, a couple bullets in the chamber, but they didn't seem to have that conversation. Didn't seem like he exposed this to anyone outside of the immediate Harbaugh family. And it's just a bad situation, because now it just makes everybody involved look bad. Am I right, Jamie? It makes Ward look like he didn't know what was going on, so it makes him look incompetent to a certain extent. It makes Jim Harbaugh makes him look terrible. You know what I'm saying? In a week, we've already had Michigan look bad with the Stephen Ross stuff. We didn't need any more of this. So now you had this. Jim Harbaugh comes back, and the way in which he comes back. James, what do you make of the tweet that Adam Schefter put out, basically saying he called Ward and said, hey, I'll come back and have you if you have me, but I promise this won't be a reoccurring thing. Like, what do you make of it, the rhetoric of that? It sounds awful.
It does sound awful, and I don't believe it. Look. A leopard does not lose their spots. They got spots for life. Yeah. And if he has a good season, if somebody comes a knocking, the man's going to turn his but I promised that I wouldn't do this, but I know, and he's going to go to Ward again. Look, it's just the way it is. It's who he is. He's got the NFL itch. I get it. Look, you should have worked that out at the beginning of the season. Here's the one thing I got for you, Braylon. Did you tell the guys, your assistant coaches and your players before you left, that you may not come back? Because guess what? They didn't know what was going on. Some of them knew, but not all of them. And you got to come back, and you got to come back with your tail between your legs. You got to do you better have your knee pads on. And there better be a lot of apologies, because you got some kids that are coming back that was here for you. And you got a lot of explaining to do, Lucy. A lot of explaining.
Okay, Jamie.
Hey, Jamie, let me ask you this. Last year when Ward Manuel cut Jim's salary, do you think it was, hey, Jim, we're going to cut your salary, or we're going to let you go? You think it was something like that? Or what's your take on that? Let's start there.
I think what he did was made a proposal. Maz, I think he made a proposal. Jim saw the proposal. And if you look at that, that was like, he had a gray period that he went around. I think he searched around to see if anybody loved him. I think he called the NFL. I think he did the things wherever he could go. Then he came back. He accepted the contract, and he knew what he was doing. Look, Jim Harbaugh has made a lot of money. Don't feel bad for Jim Harbaugh. He made a lot of money that first contract. With that being said, dude, you got to give back. And he had to. But if you look at the contract, though, man, look at that contract. He had a lot of incentive, and he did a good thing with it. He gave it back to the people that had to take a salary cut in the athletic department. Good for him. I love him for doing that. I applaud you for doing that. But that being said, Your contract allowed you to make a lot of money if you do the incentives. It's about time. Guess what? You beat Ohio State. Go get them, boy. That's what you should have been doing. You went to the Big Ten tournament. I mean, Big Ten championship.
Yep.
That's what you're supposed to do. You at Michigan. And guess what? We didn't play the card, oh, they got more talent than us. We actually went out and played. And I don't care what you say. If you suit up, if Ohio State suit up and says we had the flu, well, boo-hoo-hoo. I have the flu too. I mean, hey, we gonna ball. That's the way it is. You ball when it's time to ball, and you play. Look, I don't want to hear excuses. I'm not about excuses. That wasn't a down on Ohio State. They weren't down when they played Michigan State a couple weeks before. Uh-oh. They were doing good in the sun and the fun. They get in that snow and that wind. It cut through those wide receivers. I don't want to play in that kind of weather either. That's just the way it is. I'm gonna just say this: we won the Big Ten championship, but Braylon will tell you that is the bar. We're supposed to win the Big Ten championship, and that's what Jim Harbaugh was brought here to do. He did it, but I did think he was going to stay. He said this was the start of something in the making. And then, look, like I said, I gave him the benefit of the doubt. Hey, you want to check out the NFL? Go check it out. But don't do it on signing day. The ops are bad, my friend. The ops are really bad.
Hey, Ryan.
Jamie Morris joins us, one of the greatest running backs in Michigan history, host of the MZONE on WTKA. Do you think Michigan State, Ohio State, Penn State, the big three there, Wisconsin, the big four, do you think they're happy Jim Harbaugh's back and kind of laughing a little?
I'm laughing.
All smiles by every team in the Big Ten. We got Alex Mayer right here who represents Michigan State. They are laughing their asses all the way off today.
Hey, Mel Tucker's sitting there counting his money going,
smoking a stogie.
I ain't going nowhere. Y'all ain't got to worry about me being on the sidelines of the NFL. Just me watching. Y'all, hey, you go down there, he may leave. Watch him. If he get one win against me, I'm out. He's out of here. I'm just telling you.
Jamie, let me ask you this question, because this is the question that I'm having a hard time understanding. How does Jim Harbaugh get on that plane yesterday without knowing he's got an offer? Like, because of the situation that we're in here today, how do you even get to that point where you accept an interview like that where you don't have the job yet?
I think he thought he had the job.
Absolutely did.
Honestly,
Absolutely did.
He thought he had the job.
Absolutely did.
He had to go up there for an interview. Something went bad in the interview. So
100%.
That's what happened.
Who was there? Paul Feinbaum?
Honestly,
that's funny.
I think something happened. I think something happened, and he maybe he excused himself, or they just called it off, whatever. So I'm just telling you.
You're 100% right. Happened. You're 100% right on that.
I got two things for you, big bro. Check this out. Here's one. And you just mentioned it. I kind of just threw this in there. Does he give that money back if he knew he was staying? See, he knew he was leaving, so he thought. Does he get that money back if he knew he was staying? And that's just for fun. Mm-hmm. That was a fun question. But here's the real one. This is a serious question. And everybody talks about, him leaving the program better hands than when he found it. And I always can argue that, because everybody talks about patience. Shoot, if you give Brady Hoke 2 more years, that amazing 2017 draft class that was Michigan, 17 players drafted and all that in the first round, whose kids were those? Those were Brady Hoke's kids. Brady Hoke beat Ohio State year 3. It took Jim Harbaugh till year 7. But that's neither here nor there. It's more so about the kids. Like, not the kids that are coming in, like Micah Pollard, my nephew, like Will Johnson, Grosse Pointe. Like, it's not those kids, because they don't know anything yet. They don't understand how this works. How do you go to Schemberkler Hall, and how do you stand before that team knowing that you tried to pull this off, it didn't work? How do you go? Because kids are older now. Kids' minds work a lot different. See, kids understand they want to get out of here. Kids want to go in the transfer portal. They want to make money. They care about their brand. See, when I was in school, when you were in school, we were just loyal to the team. Whatever happens, whatever the coach says goes. Whatever Bo told you was gospel. Whatever Lloyd told me was gospel. Now kids are a little different. How do you have that conversation with this day and age, this group of men, Jamie?
Well, you're going to have to do it individually. You're going to have to bring them into your office individually. I'm thinking JJ, Donovan Edwards. I'm thinking Antrell. You got a lot of kids. Anthony Jr. You got a lot of kids you got to bring into there, and you got to have individual talks with them. And you've got to apologize and say that this is not going to happen until you leave here, or I'm never leaving again. And whatever you need to tell these kids to stay, you know as well as I do, Braylon. These kids, like you said, these are business mind kids now. They got NIL. And hey, you messing up my money now. You messing up my time. So if you're gonna be here, be here. If you're not, you needed to let us all know you weren't gonna be here. Because then we can answer the questions that you refused to answer because you was going to stay in Minneapolis if they would have taken your butt.
Jamie, let me finish with this, and I'll ask you this: moving forward now, how does this get smoothed over? Is it all about winning? Because to me, winning cures everything. If Michigan runs it back, beats Ohio State, wins a Big Ten championship, I'm not sure how many people care that he flirted with the Minnesota Vikings or the Raiders or the Bears or anybody else. How do you see this playing out over the next 12 months, over the next 3-5 years?
You got a lot of work to do. He's got to bring those coaches in, and he's got to talk to the coaches. He's got to talk to the players individually as well as a full team. He's got a lot of work to do for himself, and I'm sure he can get it done. But it's going to take some time for this team to get into shape. He had a good opportunity to grab, after that Georgia game, to grab these kids and say, this is where we attain to be. This is where we need to be at. We need to be better, stronger, faster, and I'm counting on you guys. It would have been a great recruiting tool. I get it that he had already signed his class, and that's why he did. Of all things, why do it on signing day? Because you just left a goose egg for Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan State. So, I mean, that's going to take time because those coaches are going to use that for the eons that come up. So whoever they recruit in the same recruits, that's what those recruits are going to get. Jim Harbaugh is going to have to answer those questions all the time. But as right now with the present team, he's got to, like I said, he's got to put those knee pads on and come back, and he's got to set the tone. First thing I do for the coaches, I'd make sure they all get paid with longer contracts. I make sure Mike Hart's solid. I'll make sure Ron Bellamy's solid. I'll make sure Steve Klinkscale, Sharon Moore, all of those coaches that are coming back, I'd make sure they're solid and they got good contracts and they're very happy.
Smart.
Jamie, who starts next year, JJ or Cade?
Don't ask me that until I see spring ball, man. What the hell's wrong with you?
That's the question.
Question.
We ask that question. We ask that question every day, Jamie.
Every day.
What the hell's wrong with you?
That is what you call. That is what you call on point answer right there. I see you working, Jamie.
The great Jamie Morris. Check him out.
I see you working.
Hey, hold on. What do you think of those Commanders? You're a Redskin.
WTKA Jamie Morris.
It's a Redskin.
The MZONE.
No. I like the colors. I like that black jersey. Now, that black jersey, I called my boy Doug Williams to send me one of those, but don't put that Commander crap on it. No.
The great
Red Tails.
Jamie Morris.
That's not bad.
Follow him on Twitter at JMorris23. Check him out, WTKA Radio.
Morris.
Host of the MZONE, the great Jamie
Tell
Morris.
the family
Thank
I
you,
said
sir.
hello, big bro.
Thanks, Jamie.
Thank you, Jamie.
Hey, anything for you, Braylon. You know I do. Any show for you.
100%.
Hey, what about
I
me,
appreciate
man?
you. Love you,
I said Ryan. I got Mash. You know how to get in touch with me, so I know I got you.
Love you,
We
Jamie.
the East Coast, baby. We the East Coast.
You got it, baby.
Appreciate you, Jamie.
We're going to take
Say hi to your brother for me. Say hi to your
we'll
brother
take a
for me.
break. Come right back.
Gotta love
You
Jamie
got
Morris,
it.
man. He's
We'll
the man.
react to everything that Jamie said next. Ermanni and Edwards. How great was that?
The bottom line on a beautiful Thursday.
Boom.
We'll be back in 2 seconds.
How about my guy Joe Morris?
Oh, man. He was another first giant.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
You want commercials? The other guys have those. You want great sports takes? Touchdown! What a play! Woodward Sports has those. Detroit's new sports outlet. Woodward Sports Network.
Citron World is an aspirational lifestyle beverage choice. Checked out, not just beverages, but I'm talking premium beverage. I'm talking about enhances your lifestyle. It enhances your lifestyle with premium ingredients, also long-lasting energy, as well as balanced hydration, essential vitamins, and by the way, great taste. Follow them on social at Citron World to see all the inspiring things that they are doing, from empowering women. I have 2 mothers, I have 2 sisters, and my God, I love when women are empowered. That's what my family does, and so does Citron. Great taste is what you got right here, and it should be your top choice. Buy online at CitronWorld.com with promo code RedWings10. Save 10% with shipping included. Drink it, live it with Citron.
Oh, look at that.
We got our fridge in the back now.
Yeah, we got a fridge
2.
in the
There's one
back.
right there, too.
That's a live demonstration read,
good
as
stuff,
we
too.
call
It's
that
open, too.
in
It's
the
not fake. You heard
business.
that pop.
Hey, how about Jamie Morris, man? He was fired
He was
up.
great.
I got to tell you, maybe I'm in the minority here.
I think you are.
I am.
You are.
But here's the thing, though. These things don't have to be mutually exclusive. Like, at the same time, you're right in terms of Jim Harbaugh at this day and age gives Michigan the best chance to win. Like, I agree with you on that. He gives them the best chance to win. But it just needed to be said. What he did in terms of from last year to this very moment right now, it needed to say that he handled that situation completely wrong, from the interview to the not talking to people to everything that he did. He didn't handle it the right way. That's more so what we say. It was very selfish. It was very arrogant on his part. It was embarrassing to the University of Michigan as well as himself. More so just saying that needed to be said, that needed to be stated. But everything you said in terms of who gives Michigan the best opportunity, the best chance to win. Mm-hmm. But there's something else that you said I want to unpack, if you will.
Please.
If you will have me.
Please.
You said winning cures all.
Yes.
1,000%. We can go down a list of examples of winning, curing all. Like, it does. There's no need to put those examples out there. But you got to get to November to play Ohio State. And that's why the great question was, what do you do in the immediate time? Because you got to get there. It's only February. That Ohio State game is not to the end of November. You got to be able to get to the coaches looking at you sideways because you didn't have conversations with them. You probably went out to eat with their families in December, just down in Indianapolis or down in Miami for the Orange Bowl. Said nothing to them about leaving or your plans. Said nothing to these players that you knew, that you recruited, that you sat in the living room with their parents. Never talked to them. Never said what your plans were. You knew this is what you were going to do.
Can I stop you for a second, though? Because my question is, if Jim Harbaugh for the last month is telling recruits that he is exploring the NFL, do we think he's not telling Ron Bellamy and Josh Gaddis and Mike Hart that he's not exploring?
I know for a fact I won't reveal my sources.
Okay,
there's
the difference.
I know for a fact I won't reveal my sources.
Say less.
No one knew, from the coaches to they did not know.
Say less.
So then now you got to get to the point where you got coaches looking at you a type of way in meetings. You're trying to get them to listen, and you guys are putting in offense, and you got coaches like, man, shut the F up. What you going to do? Oh, you going to do leave? You got players that are looking. How many players might decide, like, I don't want to be here anymore, or coaches, I don't want to be. It's an interesting situation, and that's the only reason why I say you're right. Winning cures all, but you got to get to the fact where you can win. You got what? You got about 9 months. Well, not 9. Let me get my math together on that. You have about 7 months before opening day. Mm-hmm. 7 months. That's a long time to unpack the situation that's happening right now. Now, he can get it right, and I think Jamie gave you a blueprint. Got to get those guys paid right now, get them some longevity, get them a sense of stability and comfortability. Got to do that now. He gave us the blueprint. I'm just saying it's going to be a tough process to get to winning.
The reason that you're in the minority, you think you're in the minority, right, is because we've all had him shipped out for the past 34 days. I'm going to miss John U. Bacon's countdown. I'm going to miss it. I mean, that's our lead. Wasn't that our lead for every single day since the Orange Bowl? Is where's Jim Harbaugh going to go? So now he has to go back and sign a new contract, and he's not going to get Mel Tucker money, and he's not going to get Penn State money. He's just not. Isn't that another slap in his face? He just went to the Final Four. I just don't. It's so late in the game, Michigan could not have gotten probably the head coach they wanted at this point. So he kind of screwed them. So we got to use him, but I don't think he's here more than a year. I don't.
I agree.
Well, I certainly think if they turn into a losing program,
they're not going to lose. They're going to win 8 games, 9 games.
Well, to me, that's when you start doing that 2-3 years in a row now. I think events like this help you get fired faster.
What if Michigan State beats them again and they get blown out by Ohio State this year?
Well, that's something you got to revisit. Yeah. Let me say this, because this is
his third base comment. This is to Ryan Day. That thing's going to come back and bite him in the ass.
Courtney Cronin, who's the Minnesota Vikings reporter for ESPN, she put this out there last night. This is the disconnect that we always talk about. I thought she put it really, really great. My read on the Harbaugh Viking situation, and speaking with sources, Harbaugh was in the mix for the Minnesota job because of his connection to Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, who is the new general manager.
Nice job right there.
Thank you very much. Job. Thank you. We talked. That's pre-show meeting. Harbaugh operated under the assumption that the job was his and prepared for that interview as such. The Vikings saw this very differently, as not a slam dunk, as a source put it to me. The way they felt Harbaugh viewed the situation coming into Wednesday was very different. There was no offer extended. This isn't necessarily a matter of who said no, but the two sides did not align on what the nature of the in-person meeting was actually about. The Vikings brought in Harbaugh to Minnesota just as they did Pat Graham on Tuesday and followed the same format. So he thought he had the job. That's why he got on that plane. Minnesota viewed that very differently. Where was that disconnect? I would love to know, because that's what I'm fascinated with. I think Harbaugh, look, at the end of the day, we're all grown-ups here.
Yeah.
We're all grown-ups. Jim Harbaugh's a grown-up. The assistant coaches are grown-ups. You have 7 months to essentially repair that relationship, and I think that will get done. We sit here on a Tuesday, and we're all mad and all that stuff, and I think that's fine. But Jim Harbaugh comes to the table, gives your family a couple more extra years of security and a couple more $1 million of security and all that stuff. That stuff gets worked out. And if you win, I do think this all goes away. Personally, will Jim Harbaugh entertain the NFL again? To be honest with you, I'm not sure he has that opportunity.
No, he's going to be 60.
No, because I don't think no matter how good he is at Michigan, I think the NFL doesn't want him.
That's why I said no. I agree with you.
So, Can you imagine interviewing him, by the way? He's probably not a very good interviewer.
Awkward person.
It's probably awful.
He's a very awkward person.
Yeah. So add the awkwardness into a mental state where he thinks he has a job, and he's basically showing up as a formality. Like, first of all, you should never show up as a formality. Like, even if you show up as a formality, you need to have notes. You need to have something prepared. It's a 9-hour process. You still need to show up with something. Show up with something in mind, something that you thought about, some questions that you want to answer, how you can turn that franchise around, what you can do different than Zimmerman.
Show people your notebook. Show them. Open those pages up.
Man, it's just
that's his daily. This guy, you've been training for how many years now for this?
2012, 13, since I knew it was over. Like, but even then, like, I want to come in. I want to be prepared. There are topics that we talk about when I come here, and no, I don't have to do notes. I know there are subjects where I'm like, oh, this is easy. This is slam dunk. I still don't go into the office and do this. Yeah, we won the Big Ten, and I was the reason why, and we beat Ohio State. Like, this is not how you do it.
But according to John Bacon, that's not how he prepared for that interview. Now, he prepared for that interview with quarterbacks coach Matt Weiss, apparently.
Okay.
So he thought he had to go nail it, but he thought he had the job. So
I'm confused.
So according to John Sam Webb reports sources in Ann Arbor had Harbaugh prepping for the interview much of the day Monday with quarterbacks coach Matt Weiss. That's not a man who thinks today's interview is a done deal. Harbaugh knows better. But So apparently, according to Sam Webb, Harbaugh prepped for that interview with quarterbacks coach Matt Weiss. Whatever that means, I don't know.
Maybe is he a motivational speaker, Matt Weiss?
I don't know. I don't know anything what goes into that, but I don't think he just walked in and kicked his feet on the table. And I know you're just using a metaphor, but obviously,
I know he has way more professionalism than that.
Exactly, but I just feel like Jim Harbaugh is so awkward, and his demands, maybe throughout the 9-hour process, wear thin on people. And that's not breaking news. That's not breaking news to anybody. Jim Harbaugh is pretty awkward in social settings, it appears like. And maybe it just didn't work out. I don't know. I wasn't there. But I think he prepared for the interview. I don't think the NFL is his game anymore. I don't think players in the NFL want a Jim Harbaugh-type coach anymore.
I asked Stan Edwards, a.k.a. my dad, on Tuesday, and I asked him, I remember I said, is he ready? Like I said, can he adapt to this game? And everybody that we're talking about getting hired, they're 36, they're 39, they're 38, they're 37. But, by the way, they all seem to fall off the Sean McVay tree, which is another thing we'll get into with the Flores stuff. But can he handle that game? These guys are young, they're personable, they're hanging out, they're going to Cabo, they're meeting, they're kicking it, their families are friends, and they're also coached a certain way. They coach differently. It's a little more open format. Like, can Harbaugh make it in that new game? And I think this interview, to what you say, this interview let us know that he couldn't.
Clearly.
Or that potentially he cannot.
So there's a lot to chew on there. Yeah. Certainly we can get back to this in just a little bit if you wish, but there's more fallout regarding Brian Flores. The NFL investigates DumpGate. That's what they're calling it. Stephen Ross responded to the allegations. John Elway responded to the allegations earlier today. Right. So there's a lot more that's going on here. We will get to that next. Also, Brad Holmes talked about trading the Lions' number 2 pick. Hear what he had to say about that. Plenty to get to people on a Thursday. Ermanni and Edwards.
Woodward Sports Network, the bottom line.
Everything that we've hoped for, finally.
He's going deep, right side. Oh, that is Edwards out there. He goes up in the air at the goal line.
Hey, it's Braylon Edwards here, wanting to welcome the sports marketing agency to Woodward Sports Network, to the family. Glad to have you guys. For the last decade, the sports marketing agency has literally leveraged athletes around issues such as mental health and substance abuse.
Make sure you're listening to Woodward Sports all day long. Start your morning with the Morning Woodward Show. Spend middays with Big D Energy. Watch and listen your drive home with the bottom line. And don't forget about Woodward Bets Daily. All live, all right here on the Woodward Sports Network.
Hey, gang, I want to tell you about Guardian Alarm. They're your local security experts, have been for over 90 years. Guardian Alarm, you throw that black and yellow sign out in front of your house. It says one thing to the bad guys. It says stay out. That's right, Guardian Alarm, 24/7 local monitoring for your home or your business. Let you check in, control your lights, your temperatures, detect smoke, carbon monoxide, even going to let you lock or unlock your doors. All you have to do is call this number, 1-800-STAY-OUT. That number again, 1-800-STAY-OUT. Let them know Woodward Sports sent you. Guardian Alarm, your local security experts.
Local.
Just to put a bow on this Jim Harbaugh thing, I just want to be very clear on this. I have a different thought than Braylon and Maz on this. I think he's going to be the coach at Michigan for a long time because I go back to how I felt on that Monday after the Michigan-Ohio State game. And on that Monday, I felt that this program was actually surpassing and overtaking Ohio State to a certain level, and I think they can get back to that again, and we can get back to that.
I hope you're right, man.
Yep, and
my goal was for him to stay the whole time.
Yeah.
I didn't want him to do what he did this last month.
Yep.
It just wasn't a cool look.
I don't disagree with you, and we'll get back into the Jim Harbaugh talk in hour number 2 of the program. I wanted to get to the Brian Flores fallout. There's going to be a significant investigation into this. And again, the alleged racism in the hiring practices is one thing. It's a major element to this story, a huge element to this story. But that's not the element that gets ownership taken out of any particular owner's hands. Stephen Ross, the New York Giants, the Denver Broncos, those owners are not going to get their NFL franchises taken from them because they're hiring white coaches. Stephen Ross, he might. This is the type of stuff that gets your ownership taken away, and that is offering $100,000 per loss. So the NFL, according to Chris Mortensen, is going to investigate that specific allegation that Brian Flores has made concerning the Dolphins owner Stephen Ross, offering $100,000 per loss in incentives in 2019 to gain a better draft position, a league source said. Other potential rules violations will insinuate. Stephen Ross has followed up with a statement. Here's the statement. We'll get it up on the screen. It says, with regards to the allegations being made by Brian Flores, I am a man of honor and integrity and cannot let them stand without responding. I take great personal exception to these malicious attacks, and the truth must be known. His allegations are false, malicious, and defamatory. We understand there are media reports stating that the NFL intends to investigate his claims, and we will cooperate fully. I welcome the investigation, and I am eager to defend my personal integrity and the integrity of the values of the entire Miami Dolphins organization from these baseless, unfair, and disparaging claims. Now, Flores says there is a witness to this because this was a verbal offer. And so we will find out who is that witness, what did that witness say happened. Will he corroborate the statement? Because that's the type of stuff that I believe gets your franchise taken away.
The good thing that we've done so far, as we've talked about this over the last 2 days, is we've always dealt with the hypothetical. So, like, the whole rhetoric yesterday was, if this is true, if this is true. And the reason we have to say that is, one, we don't know it to be true. Second of all, I know Stephen Ross. My father has a personal relationship with Stephen Ross, and I know him to be a man of character. I know him to be an upstanding citizen. I met Steve Ross on a couple different occasions when he would come to the University of Michigan, donated money. This is before the Ross School of Business even existed. I think the first donation he made was $350 million back in 2003 when I was in my junior year. Got a chance to meet him. So I know him to be a great guy. He works with the RISE program, which is the inner city. It's something around the Urban Development Initiative. A good friend of mine, former manager Hayes Grooms, worked with. So I have connections to Stephen Ross. I know him to be a very upstanding individual. With that being said, as it relates to Brian Flores, nobody believes that the tycoon, CEO, billionaire is guilty at first. Nobody believes that the guy who you say is so upstanding, the guy that runs a franchise, the guy that runs real estate companies in New York and all over the world, nobody wants to say they're innocent. They're guilty. Also, they would never say they're innocent. You ask anybody who's in a situation like that, they don't come out right away and say, Bernie Madoff say he did it right away, the Clinton say he did it right away, and the list goes on. They don't say it. Everybody points the finger at the whistleblower. Everybody points the finger at the guy where they're like, nah, it can't be that. And they look at Brian Flores as, oh, he's mad, he got fired. He's just trying to get some payback because he got fired. You can go through the history of whistleblowers, whether it was Peter Buxton with Tuskegee, whether it was Frank Serpico, the movie Serpico with Al Pacino, NYPD cop, first one to blow the whistle on what NYPD was doing. Go to Mark Fleet. You know who Mark Fleet is, a.k.a. William Mark Fleet. That's Watergate. This is now DumpGate. Go to Snowden and NSA. I mean, not NSA.
I feel like I'm in history class.
NSA. Like the NSA, like nobody loves the initial whistleblower. They have to suffer the consequences because they are bringing down something major, an empire, a corporation. So, of course, he's going to take a lot of backlash. But I'll leave you with this, just a question. Mm-hmm. You think that a person like Brian Flores, who has two jobs on the table, would just come out of left field with something like this and just say, and pick a random number, he offered me $100,000 to throw games and then dump games, dump games, he offered me this, going after somebody of Stephen Ross integrity and class and position and power. You think he would go after somebody that powerful if there was nothing there, if he didn't have a smoking gun? And we talk about the smoking gun being the Dayball text from Belichick. That ain't the smoking gun. No, the smoking gun is what they got privately. Because you can watch the interviews yesterday with Flores' attorneys when they were on the morning shows of ESPN, Get Up, First Things First, as well as the other one they were on, First Things First, Get Up, and CBS. Mm-hmm. You can see the relaxedness, the calmness in which the attorneys were. And the one attorney didn't talk much. He's the attorney that the NFL and the Dolphins need to be worried about. The older attorney is very quiet. He's the one that's ready.
Again, the Ross allegation to me is the allegation.
It is.
I mean, I could sit here and make an argument. I could, and it very well may be true that Jim Harbaugh went on a sham interview yesterday with the Vikings, knowing full well that they've already hired Kevin O'Connell. You know, you may do that. Marvin Lewis has said he's gone on 1 million sham interviews for decades. Maybe you have gone on whoever, if you're watching out there, gone on a sham interview because your HR department requires a certain number of interviews. I don't know how you legally prove that in court.
That's nothing new.
That is a very hard thing to prove in court. Yeah. You know, what's right, as Dan Lush said yesterday, what's right, what's human, is completely different than what you can prove in court.
It's not what you know.
It's not what you know. It's what you can prove.
Denzel Washington training today. It's not what you know. It's what you can prove.
Thank you for that. I'm going to use that from now on. I do want to say this because
I got you, Jake.
There was an allegation in that meeting or in that lawsuit about John Elway in an interview that he went on with the Denver Broncos and said that Elway was drunk or appeared drunk or hungover in this meeting and treated Flores with disrespect. Well, a statement from John Elway came out today, and I'm gonna read the statement. Then I'm gonna get to this afterwards because we're setting up what's being called a pattern now. While I'm not planning to, this is from John Elway. While I was not planning to respond publicly to the false and defamatory claims by Brian Flores, I could not be silent any longer with my character, integrity, and professionalism being attacked. I took Coach Flores very seriously as a candidate for our head coaching position in 2019 and enjoyed our 3.5-hour interview with him along with the rest of our group. I was prepared, ready, and fully engaged during the entire interview as Brian shared his experiences and vision for our team. It's unfortunate and shocking to learn for the first time this week that Brian felt differently about our interview with him. For Brian to make the assumption about my appearance and state of mind early that morning was subjective, hurtful, and just plain wrong. I appeared, quote-unquote, disheveled, as he claimed. Maybe it was because we had flown during the middle of the night immediately following another interview in Denver and we were on a few hours of sleep to meet the only window they provided to us. I interviewed Brian in good faith, giving him the same consideration and opportunity as every other candidate for our head coaching position in 2019. So he's denying that he was drunk or anything like that. Here's the pattern that's being, you're attacking the owner. Well, the owner's got friends too. You're attacking John Elway. John Elway's got friends too. This guy's put himself out there. I don't see him getting another job because of the amount of people, the amount of feathers that he's ruffled.
He doesn't care about getting another job.
Clearly.
Like Brian Flores. Yeah. Brian Flores is in a situation where he knew as a black man, and once again, just because I'm black doesn't mean I agree with Brian Flores. I'm not blind to say that, you know what, oh yeah, this black man is telling the truth. It's been going on like this for years. Now, a lot of that BS has been going on for years. I'm not saying this case is one of them. I'm just simply saying what if and kind of, this is our job. Our job is to play optimism on both sides. Brian Flores knew once he entered this arena, there was no turning back. He knew once he came after set franchises, after set owners, after the Shield, he knew he wasn't going to have another job, and he was fine with that. So when you know somebody who has offers on the table, has made it a point to say, you know what, change has to come. Whatever it is, that whatever change is, change has to come. He was fine with that, and he knows he's not looking for another job at this point. He's looking to shut.
I think he wants to coach.
Yeah, I think he does too, but I think he wants to shut the system down at the same time. Like, I think he wants to point out the wrongs and injustices. If everything he says is true, he just wants to point those things out and then get back to. You can see him in those interviews. He loves coaching. He believes he's extremely and supremely talented at coaching, almost to an arrogant point, which you have to be. You have to feel that way. So he wants to coach, but at the same time, coaching in the NFL again is not more important to him than what the wrongs are in place and the things that are going on behind closed doors.
If you ask me, and I've said it before, he could have been one. I think he could be one of the great coaches that are out there, and I hope that we get another chance to see him. I personally wanted him to be the New York Giants head coach. It didn't happen, and that's where all this is coming from. Remember Terrell Austin, who was defensive coordinator for the Lions back.
He was at Michigan my freshman year.
Terrell Austin was?
He was a DB coach.
Really?
He was a DB coach my first 2 years.
I didn't realize
and then he went to Seattle.
He was the DC here.
Yeah, I remember.
And did well and had a lot of interviews. Now, his agent told Pride of Detroit on Twitter that in 2018, Bob Quinn had Terrell Austin out there, just talk to him for the Rooney Rule only because he was going to hire his buddy Matt Patricia anyway. So they just came out with that now. So Terrell Austin's been on a few of those wild goose chases himself.
And Marvin Lewis said he's done a million. Here he is. Former Bengals head coach Marvin Lewis says the kinds of sham interviews that Brian Flores details in his lawsuit in the NFL have been going on for decades. You'll remember back in 2003, the Lions were fined. Matt Millen was fined $200,000 because he circumvented the Rooney Rule and just hired Steve Mariucci. Now, to be honest with you, good for Matt Millen and the Detroit Lions. If you know that's the guy you want, God bless you. Go hire him, and don't waste anybody's time.
They need to get rid of the Rooney Rule.
Don't waste anybody's time.
The Rooney Rule is the big problem because people that don't want to abide by it pisses them off, and so they go out of their way to ignore. And it's what they need. Take the Rooney Rule out of place, or keep the Rooney Rule as the name. What you do is you make it more transparent. You have to have a committee. Each team has a committee. You want to wait?
No, I want to ask you a question. I want to continue on with this because Ron Rivera said something. He wanted more information. He wasn't ready to weigh in on it yet.
Smart man.
He wasn't ready to weigh in on it because he thinks the Rooney Rule got him out there. He said he got turned down 7 times, and then the 8th time he got the job. So he wasn't ready to weigh in on it. Do you believe the Rooney Rule has helped at all, though? I want to ask you that question for people like Ron Rivera, who many teams were forced to interview, and then you're like, oh, I kind of like this guy. I'm going to hire him, and you get better and better and better.
I want you to think of GMs and assistants and coordinators as well. Has it helped them? I think it has.
Let's see. Ermanni and Edwards. We'll get your take next. Let's continue on with this. Woodward Sports Network.
Yeah, finish that too. Keep going. The bottom line.
I'm freezing in here.
We'll see at the bottom line. We'll be right back.
Only one man that ain't.
The black man. See, why it's got to be about the black man? Why it's got to be about the black man?
I'm Kay Cunningham. Working with Hall Financial to purchase my first home was easier than I could have ever imagined. They treated me like family from start to finish. Find out for yourself at callhallfirst.com.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers.
Monday, February 21st from 11 to 1 p.m. Join Woodward Sports and Big D Energy for the grand opening of the Berkeley Chili Peppers Tanning on Woodward between 11 and 12 Mile. Come hang and join the Pepper Club. Best deals on unlimited tanning.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
SMA has been leveraging pro athletes and other notables for a decade against the issues around mental health, substance use disorder. I have been helping out with SMA now for 4 years. Sean Jordan has been an amazing thing. Myself, Devin Gardner, Lomas Brown, Michael Ealy, actor, we've been helping out with this cause, and we've seen the change and going in the community, going to these various centers and wellness groups and talking to individuals. You see the change, you see the smiles on their face. It's just an amazing thing that we can do. Soon coming to Woodward Sports. That's here, buddy. The Sports Marketing Agency podcast. This is the F word meaning fentanyl. It's going to be something amazing. I can't wait to start doing that on Sundays. If you're struggling with substance abuse or mental health, they are here to help you. Go to thesportsma.com. Go to thesportsma.com. Sean, we appreciate you, buddy.
You got him.
They've hit my area now.
I think it could be something that's in the studio.
Maybe.
Damn.
Maybe these bugs don't like the snow
like a
either.
Fruit fly or something.
It's snowing again, by the way.
It is good.
Snowing good.
Very good. Good for you. Welcome back. Hour number 2 of the program. Thank you so much if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Twitter. Huge numbers yesterday, and we certainly appreciate each and every one of you for doing that. If you are so inclined, please hit that like button. Smash that like button on YouTube.
Hit subscribe. Let's get that going.
Absolutely. Subscribe. We are damn near 20,000 subscribers on Woodward Sports. So tell a friend about us. Man, we are rocking and rolling over here, and we can't thank you enough. Braylon, let me ask you. Ron Rivera, I thought, was very interesting about the Rooney Rule because we all think it's just a sham and this, that, and the other thing. But Ron Rivera was like, well, I need more information because I went on 8 interviews, and I didn't get the first 7, and then I ultimately got the 8th interview. So he feels like it helped him because it got his name out there, and it got him in front of teams, and it got him in front of owners. And every time he went on an interview, he feels like he got better and ultimately landed a job. So what do you make of a situation like that for a guy like Ron Rivera?
I think there's some truth to that. And, maybe you don't disband the Rooney Rule. Like, Ron Rivera is one of 2 coaches of color right now. Ron Rivera as well as Mike Tomlin.
And then Robert Saleh, I guess.
Yeah, right. So my corrections. So it does get them out there, and to his point, it does make sense. It gets you out there in that interview process, kind of teaches you how to interview for a job with the NFL in terms of being a head coach. So those are good things. But there are for these 3 cases, there are a ton of other ones that are just
no doubt
just to meet a quota. And that's why I say you don't have to disband it. Just kind of like change it a little bit, like change it up. I think another thing is get players involved. Because if you're hiring coaches for players. Every team has a level of player, 3-4 guys that are the guys that you trust. If you go out to, let's say Rams, the Rams are in the Super Bowl. If you're talking about the Rams, Matt Stafford goes on that board, and Aaron Donald goes on that board, Jalen Ramsey, Andrew Whitworth. Those could be your 4 guys on that board. They're a part of the interview process. That way the players can see these interviews. They can be a part of. They don't have to be a part of all 9 hours. But maybe there's 3 hours in which they're a part of, or 3 parts of the interview that they're a part of, and they can see guys. And then if you hire guys and they were in there and they're like, how in the F did you hire Joe Judge? How the F did you hire Bob McAdoo? I'm sorry, I keep going to the Giants guys. But they can see that process, and they can come out and they can know, like, we never liked this guy. This guy did nothing in that interview. This guy, what about these 2 guys over here? That's one of the main reasons why I think they can change that process. The Rooney Rule does help, but it also leads to, when you don't have the players involved, it's a players' league. Yeah. Like, it's a players' league. Got to have the players involved. I think that's the big thing they're missing, is getting players involved with the hiring process.
Lakeview High School, which is where my daughter goes, Abby, she's a softball player. They hired a new head coach this past season because they had a long-term guy. He left, so they're going to do the interview. They had my daughter, Abby, in on the interview, and another one of her teammates in on the interview.
Really?
And they went through all the interview process, just like you were saying, Braylon. So Sean Zaborowski, I tip my hat to you. He's the AD at Lakeview High School, already ahead of the game, got his kids involved. And side note, guess who's a finalist for the Houston Texans head coaching position?
Brian Flores.
Brian Flores.
That's what the Texans just put out.
Yeah.
Brian Flores.
Brian Flores might be coaching.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
Well, that's what Lust said yesterday, right?
He did say that.
The curious timing of it, because he was a finalist for the Houston Texans. Now, what will happen at that point? I don't know. Look, Brian Flores is a damn good football coach.
Phenomenal.
His ability to coach football is not in question. That is not in question. His ability to maybe get along, go along, get along, which a lot of bosses require.
But now now even that's called into question, because did he have an innate ability to not get along, or did he not want to play hardball with unethical things?
Boom.
And my man. But that's what becomes interesting about this process. And I don't know about the Houston job being the one to take, though, because you saw what happened with their coach this year. But him getting another job, like if he got that job, that would be great. It's going to be interesting to see what comes out with the NFL Shield, as well as the Giants, especially the one that matters the most and one you've hit home the hardest, the situation down there in Miami Dolphins with Stephen Ross as the owner.
I know there's only 32 of these things, but if you don't have a quarterback, I don't know if I'd take the job.
Yes, and that's why
you got a quarterback in Houston.
Who?
He's just not playing.
They're going to trade him, though.
Maybe not now.
I mean, maybe Deshaun Watson decides to play.
Yeah, maybe if Brian Flores is there, they have a great relationship.
But how do you
remember he wanted him in Miami?
Right. But how do you as Deshaun Watson? How do you ever play again for that franchise that tried to ruin you? Like, let's say we don't know what's going to come out with that situation.
Fact.
Speaking of allegations and all that, what if it comes out that it was a bunch of malarkey?
Oh.
Where'd I pull that word from? Like, what if you find out it's a bunch of malarkey?
You're an old soul,
and
Braylon.
I said it again. What if you find out that that's the case? And now you got Deshaun Watson looking at that owner down there, and you can never play for them again. I don't care what they offer me, what they were trying to do. Brian Flores, they hired Brian Flores. Because if he tells you, hey, you know what? Apologize about the situation. We just had to do our due diligence on our side, and we had to treat it accordingly. We won't have anything to do with you. It'll just be Brian Flores, you, and the GM. Owner is never hands off.
Yeah.
I wouldn't buy it, so it's a tough spot to be in, but it's still an interesting spot.
More than likely, he's not going to be not guilty on all the charges.
Yeah, but
there's way too many smoking guns.
Yeah.
And he don't sit out a year unless there's really something bad that was happening. And I'm rooting for the guy. Yeah. I hope everything. I hope it's not true what happened, and I hope that he could. I liked watching him play. That's all I meant. I liked watching him play quarterback.
And
that's all.
He seems like a nice guy too. I met him once in the airport, and he just seems like a nice guy. You never know what's going on. But with Brian Flores, it'd be interesting to have those guys because a lot of cases going on one team.
Yeah, there'll be a lot to get to regarding this, and there's so much of this story yet to be told, and we'll be on it as well.
But if the NFL doesn't get on this $100,000 thing, what a farce the NFL would be. Because they are in bed with 5 or 6 sports books.
Yep.
You can't, if you're losing a game, so Stephen Ross knows he's going to lose that game because he told his coach, I want you to lose that game. How much money does he have against his own team?
I believe
it's
he's
worse
got
than
a
what Pete
stake in
Rose
a
did.
book, too.
He owns a book.
Yeah, it's worse than what Pete Rose did by $1 million.
Exactly.
The funniest thing about this all is, the NFL has to care. The law has to care. But people don't. Because people have been talking about the concept of tanking for how long now? Neil Rule has been sitting up here on Big D Energy for the better part of 5 months now, talking about the Lions tanking all season. People want bad teams to tank. So people, in terms of the fan base, no one cares about tanking. Even if this is real, fans wouldn't care.
Can you imagine if you're a Miami Dolphins fan right now, you're probably sitting to yourself saying, well, if we did tank, we'd have Joe Burrow as our quarterback right now.
But the flip side to that is, or if you would have listened to Brian Flores, you'd have Justin Herbert.
Very true. The general manager who made the pick
is still
employed.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the general manager in Houston, who fired the coach this year, whose fault it was, why didn't he fire himself?
Dumb.
Because he told Cully to lose too, and he didn't want to lose.
He said,
we sat here. Well, we didn't, but I rooted for the Pistons to lose every game last year so they'd have more ping pong balls.
Right.
And it worked. It worked for us. Right? We got the player we wanted.
It's working even better this year.
It is working even better this year. And you know what? I hope they continue to play well but lose.
But neither year is there a LeBron James in the damn draft.
Exactly.
Well, I don't know, man. Can you imagine? I love Pablo
the Duke guy?
The Duke?
No, the Duke kid, Banchero.
Yeah.
That kid, you pair him with Cade Cunningham, and you've got yourself Eastern Conference championship-worthy pairing.
Oh, my.
Hot take city, baby. This Chet kid from Gonzaga, I don't want him.
I love him.
I want to ask Jay Billis first.
Talking about the 7-1 boy.
Yeah.
Jay Billis and Tim McCormick got to tell me that first before I believe it.
Give me Banchero.
There you go.
I don't know his first name, but his last name's Banchero.
We'll see them.
Paulo.
Cello's a great artist, by the way. Great author.
Hey, guys, the Detroit Lions and the New York Jets assistants leading the way at the Senior Bowl. Tom Mazawey going to be
the Senior Bowl.
Parked in front of his television set on Saturday watching the
Senior
Bowl.
It was on the Market North yesterday. It was on the Market North.
I know it was. I'm going to be watching the Senior Bowl myself. So Brad Holmes was interviewed by Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network about Jared Goff and about moving the number 2 pick. You will hear that next. Ermanni and Edwards.
Woodward Sports Network, the bottom line.
6 dark corners, a driveway and a patio, 5 windows that could become doors. Every house has unique security challenges. Guardian Alarm has more tech, more team, and more ways to help keep them all safe. Get a professionally designed and installed security and smart home system from Guardian Alarm. Sign up today and get a free video device. Guardian Alarm. Smart, right from the start. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT.
Get a shot up. This is for the win. All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
Hey, gang, it's Maz from MyBookie.ag. It's where I put my sports wagering in, and it's right here on my phone, on my home screen. You can get there, too, and if you're a first-time sports bettor, you're in luck. Use the promo code Woodward because they will match your first deposit all the way up to $1,000. Bet anything you want. NBA, NHL. You got the NHL All-Star Game Saturday night from Vegas. Dylan Larkin's there. Will he be the fastest skater again? You could bet on that.
He owns the record.
You know it. We got Scotty G coming up in about 20 minutes from now. You can see what he wants you to bet. Super Bowl prop bets are. How about the 2023 Super Bowl? Guess what the Lions are? 200-1. That's right. 200-1. Get your bets in on MyBookie.ag. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. Use that promo code Woodward. If you have a gambling problem, please call the Michigan Problem Gambling Hotline, 1-800-270-7117.
All right, gang, the Detroit Lions are, their coaching staff anyway, in Mobile, Alabama, getting ready for the Senior Bowl and doing all the preps there. Dan Campbell talked about the draft and all the evaluations that are going. Here he is, Dan Campbell from Mobile, Alabama.
It's living proof that it can be done, and it is there. And look, I just came from a place that's what we did. I mean, when I got to New Orleans in 2016, they had been 7-9 for a few years in a row, and then they hit on some draft picks, man. Mike Thomas and AK and McCoy and Davenport and Lattimore and Marcus, and all of a sudden, man, you draft in a couple of years and you can just totally flip the script. With what's already there, you add a couple of free agents, and if you do it right in the draft, all of a sudden, man, you catch lightning in a bottle.
That's what you really got to do is catch lightning in a bottle with some of these picks like they did last year with Amon-Ra St. Brown. And to be honest with you, even Penei Sewell, I mean, you're talking about one of the best most graded, highly graded offensive tackles to come out of the draft in the last 20 years.
Listen, that's one of the best drafts that the Lions have had in I don't know how many years you can go back.
Period.
Yeah, catching lightning. I always wonder, how did that phrase get started? Who was the first person?
A lightning bug.
Yeah, who's the first?
You catch a lightning bug in a bottle.
It's like Benjamin Franklin. No, yeah.
Go fly a kite.
Yo, you 100%. It's going to be interesting this year's draft, and I'm glad they got a chance to be down there in Mobile, Alabama. And I sound like Brian Kelly on that Mobile, Alabama family. No, it's going to be interesting seeing what they come out with in terms of, like I told you going into it, like you start to find your guys. When you don't go to something like this, you got to wait to the combine. You got to watch when everybody else is watching. You got to assess how everybody else is assessing. But you go down there and you get you some guys and you start to look at your picks differently. Like, maybe this number 2 pick, do we need this? Do we trade out of this pick? Do we move? Is there something that we can do? That's the one thing I was super excited about them being in Alabama, coaching the Senior Bowl. Them and the Jets got a chance to really assess the talent, because assessing the talent also means, maybe I take a step back out of that pick, or maybe I use some of that draft capital guys like to talk about and move up to get something because I see something there.
Before we hear from Brad Holmes, I want to give you one more cut from Dan Campbell on the Detroit Lions that they got more work to do for sure.
No, this has been good because what it does is I actually just left the meeting with Brad, so we're talking about free agents. We're still talking about other guys that are going to be involved in the draft that aren't at the Senior Bowl, and so the work doesn't stop just because we're here, and so that actually helps me, frees up some of my time to be involved with kind of all of it, from this to what they're doing a little bit of, and then certainly go out to practice, meeting with other coaches, and then certainly at practice, what's hard is not to jump in a little bit, but it does help. Like yesterday, we spent most of the time, Brad and I, on the field, and he's got more intimate knowledge on some of these guys than I do, and so just to be able to watch and somebody catches your eye and then he gives you kind of the intel, so it's very beneficial for me. It helps.
And I think it helps in so many ways too, Maz. Sorry, I cut you off there. I saw you wanted to get in there.
No, not at all.
Forget about the first round picks. I mean, this evaluation helps for a third, fourth, and I know they don't have a fourth or a fifth round pick this year. I think they have a compensatory fifth and 2/3. So that's really 6th, 7th round picks. That's where this helps.
There was the Lions put out a bunch of pictures yesterday from Mobile, Alabama. And one of them was Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell standing next to each other, arms crossed, eyes locked in. It was like, I don't know. It just made me feel good to see those guys watching over the field. And I tweeted out, I think we're in good hands finally. It sure beats the sight of Quinn and Patricia
Well, they
standing
ruined
next
the
to each
program.
other.
They ruined the franchise.
I mean, they were an embarrassment, man.
Seriously, those two men specifically ruined the Detroit Lions for the better part of a decade. I mean, you take what happened after Jim Caldwell.
They were pathetic.
That was. I almost swore. I almost swore. Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn ruined 10 years of my football life.
Yeah.
And I'm still paying for it. I'm still paying for what those guys did.
Dropping a coach, dropping those great players, and the bad draft choices. So add it all together, and it was a disgrace.
Just disgusting.
Yeah, not just you. It's just like the Detroit fan base. The Detroit fan base, the Detroit players, like the Detroit Lions franchise as a whole, like it really ruined it. They really make it take a step back. It's like a laughing joke. Like, guys, football is the most popular sport in the United States of America and probably the world. Like, everyone watches football. Everyone pays attention. All the time when you're talking about Detroit Lions suck, the Detroit Lions are doing this, the Detroit Lions are doing that, or I should say not doing that. People see that, man, and it makes free agents not want to come here. It makes people laugh at the franchise. They took it into a whole South type of direction, man. They went way down there, and that's why you're hoping that Brad Holmes, and you got to give them some time, and that's why I think last year they earned time with Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. They earned time, they earned respect of ours, and they earned the ability for us to be optimistic about what the Detroit Lions are going to do moving forward. So my hat's off to them, and we're going to see, but seems like they are dialed in, and that's what you want, as Maz was saying about that picture.
So Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network interviewed Brad Holmes regarding Jared Goff. What's the deal at quarterback, and what's the deal with that number 2 pick? Here's the next 2 minutes. Tom Pelissero with Lions General Manager Brad Holmes.
Brad, a unique opportunity for you and your staff down here. How are you trying to take advantage to the access you've got to these players?
Yeah, well, we want to get questions answered. You know, it's a critical phase in our process, and we're very specific and intentional in what we do down here. So we have questions for all these players on both rosters, and we had a unique opportunity to. Normally, every year we have questions we want to get answered, but this year it's add a little more firepower to it because we had that opportunity to get behind the scenes, get in the classroom, get in the meetings with the kids, and get a lot more clarity. But it's been successful so far.
On and off the field, what are the little things you're trying to pick up on here?
Yeah, well, you know, the intangible piece is huge, and I've been preaching it forever. You know, the intangible part is going to dictate the success. You know, at least that's how we feel, and so that's a big part of it. But you know, the on the field part, those are those questions of, you know, certain guys are playing certain positions that we want to see guys playing in other positions, and you know, just certain things that putting guys in better positions to be successful and get more clarity. And so, kind of an on and off the field. That's kind of what we're trying to get clarity on.
Just the start of a big off season for the Lions. What are your priorities?
Well, you know, this is the first step, obviously, you know, and then, you know, we kind of got the ball rolling on free agency already. Did a lot of work this week. We'll continue to do a lot of work. But, you know, just kind of add football players that fit the Detroit Lions, you know, whether it's free agency, whether it's the draft, you know, that's the goal. We laid a good foundation last year. Took a lot of lumps, you know, had to practice patience, but we definitely feel like the foundation is laid. And so I think we're in a good position going forward.
I think it was 1 year ago this week that you made a pretty big trade. One of those guys is now in the Super Bowl. You've got Jared Goff. How do you feel about Jared as your starting quarterback for 2022?
Yeah, well, Jared, you know, he knows what he has to do, you know, this offseason, and then, you know, heading into 2022, you know, he's got to show up and prove it. He finished the season off, you know, that second half well. He battled through some adversity early on, but I like how he stayed the course, played some good football late, but he's got to show up and do it again and compete.
I know it's early, but you got the number 2 pick. How open, if at all, are you to perhaps moving from that spot?
Well, you know, Tom, I'm always open, you know, for whatever. You know, we're still in the early stages of it. You know, we got a good feel of the class at this. We're in a much better place this stage of the process than we were last year, but still, we got a lot more work to do. But, you know, I'm never scared to move around, you know, so we're definitely open for business always.
Thanks a lot, Brad.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. Appreciate it.
All right, so there's a lot to chew on there. We're going to take a break. We're going to chew on that. Serve up. that meal. We're going to serve up that meal next. Lots to chew on there regarding the Detroit Lions on golf. Some very interesting comments. And on that number 2 pick, Ermanni and Edwards.
Woodward Sports Network, this is The Bottom Line.
Fellas, football season is here. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Hey, fans out there, this is Braylon. I want to talk to you about Gypsy Vodka. By the way, that was my best Maz impersonation as he does the reads. But I want to talk to you about Gypsy Vodka. Gypsy Vodka is the stuff of dreams. If you are a vodka drinker, then this is the vodka for you. It's very pure. It tastes amazing. But you know why it tastes amazing? That's because it's gluten-free. That means it's as pure as it can be, and actually gets a little bit better than that. It's also corn distilled 6 times, count on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times using artesian spring water. The best thing about this thing is it didn't just make it in one formula. They just didn't do it in 2. No, they weren't lazy. They took their sweet time with it, and this stuff is sweet. They took 50 different formulas, went into making Gypsy Vodka, and now it is one of the purest vodkas in the world. Definitely one of my favorites here in the United States. I'm telling you like this. Go down to your local neighborhood liquor store, ask for Gypsy Vodka, get some of this stuff, sit on the couch tonight because the NFL Skills Pro Bowl challenges start tonight. Get you some of that Gypsy Vodka, watch some of those skills challenges, and then you can have some left over for tomorrow when the NHL Skills challenges start. Like my boy Matt said, Dylan Larkin, will he beat his record? I don't know, but Gypsy Vodka will be there for you. Guess what? If you're going to drink, Ryan, what do you got to do?
You got to drink responsibly.
You better drink responsibly because we'll come get you. Drink responsibly, Gypsy Vodka.
And hey, gang, we'd like to tell you about Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac. That's right, Chevy. Les Stanford, located in the great city of Dearborn on Michigan Avenue. GM announced that all-new electric Chevy Silverado. Reservations now open on Chevy.com. When you go to Chevy.com to reserve your all-new electric Chevy Silverado, the second step is going to be choose dealership. And you're going to want to get in line at Les Stanford.
I want to get in line right now.
That's where you get in line.
All right.
Get in line at Les Stanford because they're going to have one of the largest allocations of that vehicle. All you have to do, call this number, 313-565-6000, 313-565-6000, or hit them up online, LesStanford.com, LesStanford.com. Tell them Woodward Sports sent you, and they'll give you a deal. They will. Tell them Woodward Sports sent you.
Les Stanford.
That's right. LesStanford.com, LesStanford.com, Les Stanford Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
That's right.
Find them.
Find them.
All right, here you go. So I want to get back to this Brad Holmes, Tom Pelissero interview with the NFL Network. Couple of things to chew on. We're going to take them one step at a time.
Let's do it.
I love what Brad Holmes said about Jared Goff because this was never said during the Matthew Stafford era. He said about Jared Goff, Jared knows what he's got to do. He's got to show improvement. He's got to step up. He's got to show up, and he's got to compete. Nothing is given to you as a member of the Detroit Lions anymore. And so many times,
got the chills.
I take my hat off to that man.
So many times throughout the Matthew Stafford era, how many times did we say, give him some competition? Give him, because the Matthew Stafford you're seeing out there in the Super Bowl now, that's not the Matthew Stafford that was here 10 years ago or 8 years
Same
ago
type of
or 6 years ago.
Wasn't put on him.
It's just different now,
Not
right?
really.
And a lot of that comes with maturity, right? A lot of that comes with the lumps that you're taking. But one of those things is he never had to compete. He never had to be fearful that he was going to lose his job. Jared Goff, the last 6 weeks of the season, much improvement. 3-3. The Lions were in the last 6 games, I believe the record was, and he played very well. So, but you got to go a step further, Braylon. I love that kind of mindset from the organization. Now, that's a winning mindset. Show up and compete because you're not giving anything around here anymore.
That's definitely a winning mindset. One thing you really have to appreciate about Brad Holmes is when you look at him, the guy is about business. The guy is easygoing. He's easy to talk to, but he carries a big stick. Swing softly, carry a big stick. He's about that business. He's about you going out there and doing what you're supposed to do to represent the Detroit Lions and the identity that they're trying to put in place. Talking about he and Dan Campbell. That's great stuff to hear, man. Like that competition begets like star power. That begets having first place in the division. That gets you to the to the playoff. That gets you to the NFC Championship game. I love that, putting onus on players. Like, how often last year did we talk about, is it going to be Jared Goff? Is it going to be TB12? Not talking about Tom Brady, mind you. Or is it going to be David Blau? Who should be the guy moving forward? Like, he's letting him know, hey, Jared, look, man, you might be the $38 million quarterback. You might be this. But you got to go out there and you got to prove it. You got to get better each day. That's what when I was in New York with Rex Ryan, that's what Rex used to tell the defense all the time. He didn't care about the offense because he knew that Brian shot and hiring the guys. He knew we'd get it together. He figured it out. But with that defense, he was telling those guys all the time, you got to work. You want to play, you got to compete. You got to do it every day at practice. What I see in practice is what I'm going to put out there in the game. And if I see you looking like trash in practice, I'm not putting trash in the game. And that's essentially what Brad Holmes is trying to tell you. I love it, man. I love hearing him talk. He sounds passionate, but it's very quiet, very relaxed. But you can tell he means business and he loves his organization's franchise.
And we talked about him earlier in the week from the Senior Bowl when someone asked him about the Rams. He's like, yep, they built a hell of a team there. They're in the Super Bowl. Yep, we're in the Senior Bowl.
Yeah.
We know where we're at. He knows. They're here. The Rams are here. He knows where he's got to get here next. And I'll tell you, we're in great hands. I believe in this guy.
Some people are happy to have a job.
Right.
Some people want to be great. Brad Holmes is not happy to have a job. He wants to be great.
Without question. We want to be great here at Woodward Sports, and we can't do that without you guys. I just want to make mention of what's happening on the YouTube chat right now. and thank you guys so much. Tammy and Vinny and Mark and Doug and I started not naming people out there, but they're trying to get our likes up on this, and they're breaking new barriers. 145 likes is our all-time high during the live show. Now, many more after that because we're, you could watch us anytime you want. But during the live broadcast, 145 is our max. We are at 137 now, so we're trying to get to that.
Let's
so
go.
Smash that like button if you're watching it on
us.
YouTube, and the over 435 people who are doing that right now as well.
Thank
you guys so much, man. We certainly appreciate it.
We really appreciate you in the chat. You know, the other thing I like, you just said it right before you started talking about trying to get the 145. I like it that they just come and kick it in the chat. Like it's a place where you can just come kick it. Maybe you're not paying attention to what me and Ryan are saying at some point. Maybe what's going on in the chat is more important. It should be sometimes. It's good, better conversation sometimes. Just come kick it. Come hang out.
Bam. Over 159 now. Thank you, everybody. This is incredible.
Hey, we got a half an hour to get 200.
Incredible stuff. Yeah, let's pump this up.
Hold on, let me turn it on.
Pump it up.
Come on.
Pump it up.
We got to give Adam. We got to give Adam and D-Mac.
170.
Adam and D-Mac, we're going to give you a number.
See what we got.
And you can beat it tomorrow.
170. Let's go.
Take
this bitch up to 200.
That's technically illegal.
I think Adam's going to come in with his goat mask again tomorrow.
Woodward Sports, let's go, baby. Woodward Sports, let's go. Thank you guys so much for coming along for the ride here. Back to Brad Holmes and the Detroit Lions. Second thing about this, the number 2 pick. How many times have the Detroit Lions, we as fans, said, trade back?
Yeah.
Trade back. I am praying they get more draft capital and are able to trade back this year. If there was ever a year to trade back, I feel like this is the year. But it takes 2 to tango. And if you don't, you're going to get a really good, solid player for you at number 2.
Yeah, it definitely was. It's all about what is the need of individuals. It's about trying to find that team that you can trade for. It's about presenting an option to that team. Sometimes you got to sell people hard. Sometimes you got to make them see what they don't see, and I think that's going to be interesting for Brad Holmes. You heard Dan Campbell. Some things are Brad Holmes' field of expertise, and I think this is one of those things where Brad Holmes can find the team that needs that guy to, hey, you know what you want to do with that number 2 pick? Hey, you're an edge rusher away from being in the Super Bowl. I'm trying to tell you, Kayvon Thibodeau, Aiden Hutchinson, wouldn't you like to sit here at the number 2 pick knowing that you can get either one of those guys or knowing that you'll get one of those guys? Hey, this is a spot for you. We'll make it sweet. That's what Brad Holmes has to do. He has to turn. What do you say in Wolf of Wall Street? He says, sell me this pen. Sell me this pen. Brad Holmes has got to go to these teams, and he's got to sell that DN pick. He's got to sell you that number 2 pick on what you were able to do. to enhance your brand. Like Centron, you want to enhance your brand. You want to move up in the draft because you want to be, you're right here. You want to get from here to here. So that's what he's got to do in this offseason.
And look, as Matt said earlier, this is as exciting a time, I think, as an exciting a draft. The 2021 draft is about collectively as excited as you could be about a group of selected players by the Detroit Lions. Is there? I can't remember when, to be honest with you, Matt.
You can't, because there's numerous players that are on this team that are making a point. How many Pro Football Focus rookies made the team? There's 3 of them. Three.
If you can run that back, if you can get, look, they're going to get 3 of the top 34 players in this draft.
Yep.
All 3 of them have to be starters unless you pick a quarterback. Then you need two solid starters for you, 2 very productive starters. And then, it's going to be interesting to see what this team can do with Jeff Okudah as well. Yeah. I mean, Jeff Okudah, I think, turned 23 or 24 today.
People forgot and wrote him off.
I have written him off as well.
200. Bing!
There
Bing
you
bong.
go. Thank you, Maz.
There we go.
Awesome. Thank you guys out there.
Appreciate that,
Certainly appreciate that. You guys are incredible. But if you can run that back, this is really exciting time, I think, for the Detroit Lions, because I do think the regime is in place.
He's a young guy. I tore my ACL. He tore his ACL in year 2. I tore my ACL at the end of my first year. I tore it in December. I came back. The next year. I started that season. It was an okay season. It was like 900 yards, nothing over the top spectacular, but I came back. I was young. And then that third year, I was able to make a Pro Bowl run. So, like you said, young and youth is on his side. So, we'll see. Now he has coaches and a coach that can get him right.
Hey, as sad as I'm going to be after, on February 14th, I'll be very sad.
It's Valentine's Day.
Well, it is. It's a beautiful day. It's my sister's birthday.
There you go.
It's our birthday week, yours and mine.
Yep.
But I'll be sad because the Super Bowl will be over. But I am so looking forward to April. Never mind baseball, the NFL draft. I cannot wait.
Incredible
Not
stuff.
to mention, Woodward Sports, we're going to do something amazing
Oh,
downtown
God,
for Woodward.
I mean, look. Yeah. I mean, the NFL draft talk to us is like
it's gold.
2 months of gold. So we'll have it. Guys, we're going to get to our teammate Scotty G from Woodward Bets. We're going to check in with the Super Bowl, the prop bets, lots going on. Hit your numbers this week. Scotty G next from Woodward Bets. Ermanni and Edwards.
Woodward Sports Network. This is the bottom line.
It took exploring 50 different formulas and hosting countless taste tests, but we believe Gypsy Vodka is the smoothest vodka on the market. Don't believe us? Ask the owners.
We're Mike and Adam Kazanowski with High Five Spirits Distillery. We're in close to about 1,200 locations throughout Michigan. We wanted to create a brand that was geared more towards freedom, love, adventure, and at the end of the day, we really wanted to tell a story that inspired other people to take risk, follow their dreams, whatever that might be.
Make sure you're listening to Woodward Sports all day long. Start your morning with the Morning Woodward Show. Spend middays with Big D Energy. Watch and listen your drive home with the Bottom Line. And don't forget about Woodward Bets Daily. All live, all right here on the Woodward Sports Network.
Hey, Beeliners, let's go Foaling. That's right, the Foaling Warehouse in Hamtramck, Michigan. The great Chris and Noni Hunt, your great hosts. And make sure you tell them everyone here from Woodward Sports sent you, because there's a lot of ways you can do it. What's Foaling? Well, tonight's my bowling night, but I should take my football with me because it'd be a lot easier to knock those pins down. Throw in a football at bowling pins. That's right. Do it by yourself. Do it with some friends, your family, any way you want to do it. Couple ways to play. $10 unlimited open play and a private lane reservation. $120 for 2 hours. You can put as many people on that lane as you want. 5 on a side, perhaps. They got over 100 beers. The $2 mystery beer machine. Multiple full bars, and you can bring your own food or have it delivered. All at the Foaling Warehouse. Come get your foal on. Check them out. FoalingWarehouse.com.
Hey, gang, I want to tell you about Chili Peppers Tanning. That's right. Chili Peppers Tanning is where you're going to find the cleanest salons in the D. Spotless, sanitized rooms and trained and certified tanning professionals. That's right. And you're going to want to join the Pepper Club for all the best deals. They'll beat all competitors by $5. Don't forget to pick up that Australian Gold Designer Skin, California Tan, and Swedish Beauty lotions. ChiliPeppersTanning.com is the hottest bulbs, hottest deals, darkest tan. Your vitamin D headquarters, 26 locations and more coming. Big D Energy going to be live from their Berkeley grand opening on Monday, February 21st from 11 to 1, located on Woodward Avenue between 11 and 12 Mile Road. ChiliPeppersTanning.com.
I got to go. I need some color.
Yeah,
Give me some color.
Absolutely.
It's cold outside. It's perfect time.
All right, let's get to it. The great Scotty G, part of our Woodward Bets team, the glue that stirs the drink. Scotty G.
Scotty, what's up, buddy?
How you doing, Scotty, what's up? Subbing in for beer today.
What's up, boys? Happy to be here with you guys. Appreciate you guys having us in the Bet Show on today. Yes, I'm filling in for beer. Obviously, we got a heavy heart for the beer man. He lost his brother, 52 years old. So we're going to hold it down for him until he gets back. We hope he gets back here soon. But we missed the big guy, and he'll be back. But we got Beastie. We've been plugging along. And, hey, I want to give you guys a congrats on all those likes you guys are banging out right now on YouTube. We had a pretty good day ourselves yesterday, and hey, now that I'm on, maybe we'll get to 300. How about that, boys?
Amen to that. And we would be remiss if we as a show did not extend our deepest condolences to Chris and his family for the loss of his brother. Just incredible tragedy. So
we love you, beer.
Yep, we absolutely love you, beer, and we're here. You take as much time as you need. We are here for you if you need anything,
Hurry
my
back,
man.
though.
Absolutely. 100%. All right, let's get to it. Scotty G, here we go. Woodward Bets. First and foremost, the game itself. Talk to me about the number. Where are you as it stands right now? I believe it's a Rams 3.5-point favorite, and the total 48.5. Where are you with all this?
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the Rams, you got a classic matchup here of strength against weakness. I think the weakness of the Cincinnati Bengals, which they've been able to hide at this point. I mean, they gave up 9 sacks against Tennessee, and I just think, they're not going to be able to do that against this Rams team. And if Aaron Donald gets home a few times and they wreak havoc on Burrow, I just think it's going to be some tough sledding for these Bengals. But man, maybe I'm just buying in too much of the Stafford thing, being a Lions fan. I mean, I did bet on the Rams, one of our very first bet show. I did say we already know how this movie ends here in Detroit, that Stafford would end up winning the Super Bowl. So I made that bet, suggested that everybody make that bet along the way. So looking forward to maybe cashing that out. And but for me at this point, I'm leaning the under in this game here. I just think that Cincinnati's going to have a tough time scoring on these Rams. You look at Chase, he's going to be matched up against Ramsey, and you got Burrow in that offensive line that's a little bit weak. So at this point, I think I'm going with the Rams.
All right, Scotty G. I'm looking forward to it. We're still, 10 days away from Super Bowl 56. Cannot wait for it. But the Bengals are the home team in this game, even though it's in L.A. Here it is, back-to-back Super Bowls, and a team is playing in their home park. How much do you think that's going to help the Rams at all, if at all?
That's going to be an interesting dynamic here. I mean, we've seen every team that, like San Francisco, all these teams that are close out to LA, it almost seemed like it was a 50-50 split. It doesn't seem like the true home field advantage has been there for these Rams ever since they moved out there to SoFi. So, I mean, Stafford, we've heard Kelly Stafford complain about Matthew having to get into the silent count, being at home. But I think Cincinnati's a little bit too far. So I think it should be a dominant Rams home team, I would assume.
Talking to Scotty G, part of the Woodward Bets team. He's got Detroit Beastie coming strong with him as well tonight. I'm sure 6 o'clock. And then again on the weekends at 9. Hey, Scott, I want to ask you some of these props. In the first one that jumps out at me here, Cooper Kupp to score a touchdown, minus nearly $1.90. I mean, that's usually it's plus money on something like that. You know, for instance, I believe Jamar Chase, you bet 100, you win 110. You got to bet $190 to win $100 if Cooper Kupp scores a touchdown. Have you ever seen anything quite like that in a Super Bowl?
Jerry Rice.
I mean, it's rare for a receiver, really. It almost seems like you get more better odds, you know, on stuff like that with running backs who, you know, they're going to fall in the end zone, whatever else. But, I mean, Cooper Kupp has just been the dominant fantasy player. I mean, if you put everybody back in a hat and probably had the draft, Cooper Kupp's going to be at the top of most every draft. I mean, we talked about Stafford. You know, hey, has he ever made these receivers better? I mean, Stafford literally doubled Cooper Kupp's production this year. I mean, Cooper Kupp so far this year in the playoffs, you're looking here, he scored, 5 straight games he scored touchdowns, and he's actually scored 7 out of 8. So, I mean, we already know that when it gets down towards that red zone, that's who Stafford looks for. They really don't have that dominant tight end that they look for. At this point, Akers, I thought, would have inserted himself a little bit more in the running game, but here, these last few playoff games, his touches have diminished here a little bit. But Cooper Kupp's the one thing that stays consistent. I mean, it's kind of hard. You look at the guy's targets. I mean, 14, 11, 7, 7, 13, 13, 11 catches, 9 catches. You know, he's over 100 yards almost every game. I mean, it's hard to disagree. I mean, yeah, that's a pretty steep price to pay. Maybe if you're afraid of the one touchdown, maybe the minus 190, maybe you could look at him to score 2 touchdowns. You'll probably get that at like a plus 280, plus 300, maybe somewhere around those lines. I haven't looked it up. I'm just kind of guessing. But that's always an option as well.
Well, forget that. Forget him. Go to Odell Beckham, Braylon's guy. He was plus 1,000 a couple of weeks ago. Now he's only plus 137 to score a touchdown. Bray, I'll let you take it with the new OBJ look.
I got one better for you. Using Odell Beckham, Scotty G, this is for you. Obviously, betting on who's going to be Super Bowl MVP right now, I think Stafford is an easy one. Joe Burrow's an easy one, too. Odell Beckham, plus 2,500 for Super Bowl MVP. I want to say Aaron Donald's plus 1,600 for Super Bowl MVP. Name me one of those long horses that you think might pay off as it relates to Super Bowl MVP. Question. That's not a quarterback that's not Cooper Kupp or a quarterback.
Remember like Larry Brown with the Cowboys years ago?
Von Miller.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I was just actually looking it up. It's almost been like 72% of the MVPs in the Super Bowl era here have been all quarterbacks. I mean, a quarterback doesn't even necessarily need to have a great game to win the MVP. They just basically maybe got to orchestrate a late-time drive or something along those lines. But you look at some of the other players that, as you mentioned, maybe a receiver. I mean, I think I would look at a guy like OBJ, just like you guys mentioned. I mean, if Kupp gets double-teamed quite a bit, I think Stafford has earned some trust with OBJ. You look at his targets recently. He's had 11 targets against San Fran, 9 catches, 113 yards. He had 8 against Tampa. So he's asserted himself as definitely the number 2 offensive weapon on that team. So for me, OBJ is a great guy, a great value. And then if you want to go on the defensive side, I actually think Cincinnati's going to have a hard time scoring on these Rams. Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, Von Miller, I think any of those 3 are a good bet. But I just think the media and the public, they just adore Aaron Donald. So I think if Aaron Donald has a great game, he gets 3 or 4 sacks, and Cincinnati doesn't put up too many points, I think Aaron Donald could be in line for that MVP quite easily.
Which is very possible with that Bengals offensive line.
Yeah.
Maybe Von Miller again.
Yeah, very much.
There you go.
Hey, how about the NHL All-Star Game? Yeah, I know you guys don't really concentrate on the NHL, but they're allowing, there's going to be some prop bets in the NHL All-Star. Are you familiar with any of them, Scotty? I don't mean to throw it out there at you.
I look at it. I always look at those different kind of, little, the off-the-radar type bets, because I think those are the ones that are toughest for the books to gauge and put the correct line on. So, a lot of times you get like that. I mean, like we got the Olympics starting up. I think the Olympics or something that I'll be looking at betting. It's the first time we can actually bet on the Olympics, except if you were in Vegas and in New Jersey. There was only 2 places you could have bet on that in the past. But, talking about the Red Wings and, stuff like that, I'm a sucker for betting on some of my home team's guys. Dylan Larkin, fastest skater. We'll see if he can possibly break his record there. I always like to bet on the fastest shot, stuff like that. But, as far as like these all-star games, if I'm betting anything, I'm generally betting the over of the game, because it just seems like a lot of times it just gets out of control. And sometimes I think they can't put a number high enough. But, yeah, for me, I think I probably sit back. If something catches my eye, well, sure, I'll put a bet in on it. But at this point, I haven't pinpointed anything as far as the NHL games.
So what can we bet in the Olympics? Do you bet the countries? Who's going to win the most golds? What's the scoop there?
Not immediate enough.
What's the U.S.? I mean, they in the Winter Olympics, they don't usually dominate, but they're top 3 usually.
China.
Yeah, actually, I know a lot of people in the sports betting world. OlympicBettingOdds.com is a site that some friends of mine actually are behind, and they put out all these different props and bets that you can do, and the schedules for the Olympics, like the odds to win the most gold medals. Norway is actually at -500, the leader.
Ooh.
Russia, it's 10-1, actually at +1,000. U.S. is at +1,400 now.
I'm betting them.
It's been about 4 Olympics since the U.S. won the most overall gold medals. I want to say that was back when it was in Vancouver, if I'm not mistaken. But if you look at the most overall medals, Norway -800 and USA +1,400. So those are some things that I'd be looking at.
Scotty G, before we get out of here, I got to ask you about you got anything in NBA tonight people should be looking at?
Yeah, actually, I got 2 bets I like tonight. One in the NBA, I really like the Phoenix Suns tonight against Atlanta. I think Phoenix has just been playing so well. I really think that they're one of the best teams in the NBA. And then another one, I got a college basketball. We got Western and Central playing. Chippewas at home. I just like the Chippewas -3. Western's lost 11 in a row. They're struggling. I'll take the home team in Central, who's had a couple underdog wins here recently. So give me the Chips and give me the Phoenix Suns here tonight.
The great Scotty G, baby. The great Scotty G. Check him out tonight.
Yes,
Woodward Bets. He and Detroit Beastie going to bring it home 6 o'clock tonight on Woodward Sports. Woodward Bets, baby.
Hey, what's the over-under on your series for tonight in bowling? 750 plus, or are we going under?
Over-under in my series, I'll put it at 680, man. How about
680, I'll take the over.
What's the over-under to snow stopping? Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
Thanks,
yeah,
Scotty.
man. We got a little extra bit we got to pay attention to tonight. Don't get that wet shoe tonight with all that snow being trampled.
That's
in that
right,
bowling
man.
alley. You know us old fellas can't be falling on the lanes. That's not good, buddy.
That's the worst look ever. But give beer our best.
Scotty,
Definitely.
we appreciate
Thanks
it,
for
man.
having me, guys.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you,
Thanks.
Scotty.
Scotty G.
The funny
Woodward
dude,
Bets.
man.
He
Scotty's
is
a great
great
dude and funny as hell.
And great for morale in the building,
He
too.
is. He's such an
when
upbeat
Scotty
guy.
G is in the building, it's a much better place than
You
when
notice
Scotty
it.
G is not in the building.
And he
again,
brings the best cookies. The kid bakes the best cookies.
to Chris Prince, Beerman, and his family, our deepest condolences
Absolutely.
For the loss of his brother, tragically. My goodness. Okay. Guys, we're going to take a break. When we come back, it's that time of the day we like to play
Maz videos of the day. Videos right here on Woodward Sports Network. The bottom line.
Here at Woodward Sports, we're always up for a good cause and a good time. This year we present the 2022 Cupid Sunday Run. Yeah, you heard right. Time to get in our underwear and run the streets of Detroit. For the last 12 years, we've stripped down, ran in the cold, and partied to raise money to help fund research to end NF. February 12th, join the staff from Woodward Sports and hundreds of other beautiful people downtown at the Tin Roof. You can register as an individual or your team today at woodwardsports.com. So start doing those squats, sit-ups, or just some 12-ounce curls. And get ready for Cupid Sunday Run 2022. Sponsored by the awesome people at Gypsy Vodka, Centron, and Planet Fitness. We'll see you February 12th at the Tin Roof. In our underwear.
Planet Fitness is home of the judgment-free zone where you can work out in a non-intimidating, judgment-free environment. I'm telling you about this. If I want to work out, I don't want to work out around anybody that has judgments. Just want to chill, just relax, listen to my music, man, and maybe shoot text messages off as I act like I'm doing leg extensions. Who knows? Membership right now, $10 and $22.99 if you're doing the black card. What is the black card, you ask? Don't worry, I'll tell you. Members enjoy use of amenities such as unlimited tanning, hydro massage, massage chairs, and total body enhancements. I got to rewind one time. Maz, we got to get you in that massage chair, man. I'm telling you, man, a little lower lumbar support, man, a little shoulder action. Sounds like you're kind of speaking. Yeah,
I would love
there.
it, man. I would love it.
Got to get you there, man. Join today in club or online at www.planetfitness.com. No matter where you are, there's a Planet Fitness by you, as they have 2,000 locations worldwide. Now open in Midtown Detroit at the Detroit Pistons Performance Center. So you can work out and go get a chance to run a guy like Derek Walton Jr. Watch him bust some butt down there, right?
Ooh-wee.
Right now, $0 down or $10 a month. Remember, that's planetfitness.com.
It's a judgment-free zone.
Judgment-free, safe space.
I need it.
It's a safe
I need it
space.
if I'm working out. You know, there was a time where I was like Mr. Beefcake, right? No.
You were a beefcake?
Oh,
Mr.
man.
Beefcake.
I was,
The Beefcake.
Oh, man.
I want to pump
you up. All
Were
right,
you
man,
rocking
you're
at
up.
the 9 Mile Tower?
Huh?
The 9 Mile Tower?
Oh, man. Almost burnt that thing to the ground.
Say clear shores
Say
only.
less. Say less.
Say it.
Maybe I should say less.
You both say less.
Meet you at Fishbones.
Ooh, that's not bad.
Ooh,
Get some of that alligator voodoo.
What do you got for us, man?
Hey, guys, since we talked about Jim Harbaugh for the last month and a half, I figured I'd take you back to 1982. Another guy was set to leave Michigan. Check this out.
I debated it, as you know, longer than I thought I would. And I came to the conclusion that there are things that are more important to me.
It's a great place to be right now.
Michigan.
All that money they're spending.
And with that in mind, I'm staying where I belong, right here.
Oh, yeah. Good for you, Bo.
Oh,
Bo.
He was going to go to A&M, huh?
A&M?
See, that's how you do it.
Courtesy of Dr. Sapp
Love Dr.
Archives, who
Sapp.
is the best
He's
in
the
the
man.
business.
That's how you do it. That's how you sit down there and make a decision.
Now,
That's how you do it.
Harbaugh should do that now, shouldn't
It's
he?
too
He
late.
should have done that yesterday.
That's why I said that's how you make
Yeah,
a
he
decision.
should have done
You know,
that.
the only difference between Tom Izzo and Bo Schembechler and Jim Harbaugh is that Izzo and Izzo and Schembechler were actually offered the jobs. They returned to their schools.
It's a big difference.
There is a difference.
This is true.
And I'm glad. Now I'm glad. I'm
That's
just saying.
fine.
You
We're
gotta
all-
be factual. I am
No,
in
no,
the,
no, no. That's
I am in
real.
the business of
We're all good, man.
Facts hurt.
fact based.
Well, Michigan fans, we're fine. Let's
Right.
keep it
Yeah,
status
right.
quo
Amen.
right now. Go blue. Let's keep it on the recruiting trail. Remember that kid that we are family? Where's that family thing there, Sam? Play family. Brian Kelly. He was doing the dance in the LSU. It was a TikTok. It was disturbing. Well,
Yeah.
that kid, you see him right there?
He ain't going there.
Come on, pump it up.
Look at this.
You gotta pump it up. Come. Sorry.
Look at Brian Kelly and the recruit. No. The recruit said, nope, I'm going to Alabama.
8 million views on that.
He's going to Alabama, that kid.
You know why the kid's not
Alabama.
going to LSU? I wouldn't go to the school where the coach that's going to be
Is
my head coach is
embarrassed?
doing that stuff. I'd be like, oh, hell no. I'm going to play just to play against you.
What a weirdo. Seriously.
He's trying to do too much.
Way too hard.
He's trying to do too much.
Why do I think Brian Kelly's going to fail at LSU?
He's not.
I've
won't.
said that.
He
I
won't.
don't think he will either. Like
You want him to.
There's just something about it that doesn't feel right. He may.
I just feel like he's having.
Yeah.
I think he's having fun, but I think it's too much fun. Like it's a little too much fun. I don't want to play video games with my coach.
Yeah, right.
Like, I don't want to play video games with my coach.
Right.
This
Or
next, hey, this next one's for Braylon, one of your favorite players.
Okay.
Ken Griffey Jr. playing in the same outfield with his dad. Ken Griffey Sr.?
Yes.
Check what Jr. did to Dad on this video.
Man. And
Maybe not.
You don't have it?
It's all good.
Okay, we'll
fine.
play that one tomorrow.
Yeah.
Here
That was good
is
thought.
the NBA All-Star
thought.
game, which is coming up. Of course,
Yeah.
it's named for Kobe now, and the award for MVP is named for Kobe Bryant. Check this trophy out. Let's play it. Let's hear it, Alex.
MVP. It leads the lineup of brand new NBA All-Star trophies, reimagined and designed by
Listen
artist
now.
Victor Solomon. And the Kobe Trophy has tons of symbolism involved. The 18 stars around represent his 18 All-Star selections. The 8-sided base is a nod to Kobe's number 8 and the 8 decades of All-Star games. The 24 stars on level 1 double for Kobe's number 24 and the number of All-Stars selected to play in the game. Other All-Star trophies include the Clorox Clutch Challenge champions, the AT&T Slam Dunk champion, the Mountain Dew 3-point contest
Anyway,
champion,
but the
Taco
Kobe
Bell
Bryant
Skills Challenge.
trophy with all of those little things in there.
I was going to say I wasn't a big fan of the trophy until you start explaining the dimensions and the numbers.
Right.
Then you get the facts behind it. You're like, oh, no, that's kind of cool.
That's hot.
That's kind of cool.
All right, gang. Good stuff. Hell of a day today. Incredible. We cannot thank everybody in that chat enough, man. You guys are what makes this show. We absolutely love you. We absolutely need you. And we certainly hope you're a part of everything. You feel a part of everything at Woodward Sports because you are. So just wanted to say thanks so much. Braylon?
It is Black History Month. So, with the Black History Moment and fact about a star today, I am going to my family's favorite sport, that is track. This is Jesse Owens, member of the Ohio State. I hate that school, but I love Jesse Owens, so I will give it a pass. Jesse Owens is a 4 gold medal. He won 4 gold medals in 1936 at the Germany games, right around the time we were going right before the lead up in the World War Tour. And everybody hated, you know who, Adolf Hitler, and he stuck it to him in a major way. 4 gold medals, long jump, 100-meter dash, the 4x1 as well as the 200. He broke 4 world records at that Olympics, one of the best performances of all times. And then what does he return home to? Returns home to a country that would not give him a job, returns to getting his awards for ceremonies, had to go through the kitchen to receive his awards in the kitchen at a terrible time. He fought for his company his country in the war as well. Did amazing things. Maz, but you will love this. He did get back on track. He was one of the owners of a major Negro League team, the Seattle. I can't think of the last name, so forgive me on that one. But guess what he did that you will love? He became the running instructor for the 1965 New York Mets.
Oh.
There you go. I knew you would appreciate that one. Shout out to Jesse Owens, who also broke the world record in the 100 before the Olympics, none other than at the University of Michigan. So I say to Jesse Owens, we appreciate you for your sacrifice.
The Seattle Steelheads, by the way.
The Seattle Steelheads. Yeah. There we go.
And what was the Seattle baseball team after that, before they were the Mariners?
The Fishermen's.
The Pilots.
I was just going to say
the Seattle Pilots.
You weren't going to say anything, Sam.
Love the Pilots.
Nah, but we appreciate you. And you know what, real MVP, like Ryan said, shout out to the guys in the group chat and the women. Shout out to the people that come support us every day. This was amazing. To watch the conversation, to watch the numbers and the hearts go up in the lights. You guys are why we come do what we do. You make it fun. You make it known. That's my phone that just dropped. But we had a great show. Let's get out of here.
Anyway.
This is Edwards. This is Ermanni. This is Sam Alex. And that's the guy on the couch. That is Uncle Maz. We love you. And guess what? We'll see you tomorrow. That's the bottom line.
Shoot it in. Larkin picks it up, sends it back in the line. Gustav Lindstrom with a shot, scores! Bertuzzi right out in front, deflected it in. And it's 2-2.
And the Wings just won't give up, just keep it coming after good scoring chance by Raymond. Lindstrom lets it go from right to point. Tyler Bertuzzi comes back out to front and redirects it. And just like that, 2-goal, a 2-2 tie.